Alam mo ba, ayaw pa rin mag-school ng friend kong si Brian. Kasi daw may COVID pa.
Ano namang sinabi mo sa kanya, Apo?
Ang sabi ko po, hindi naman po talaga papasok sa school eh. Sa bahay lang mag-aaral hanggat may COVID pa.
Ano namang sagot niya?
Tapos sabi niya, paano daw mag-aaral sa bahay wala namang teacher sa bahay? Di ba nga Lola? Ano nga ulit nung tawag doon sa hindi naman papasok sa school pero mag-aaral pa rin?
Apo, ang tawag niyan ay distance learning.
Yun nga po, mag-aaral pa rin kami gamit ng computer. Di ba Lola?
Oo, pero bukod sa online, may mga lessons din na ipapalabas sa TV at radio para makapag-aral pa rin ang mga bata kahit wala kayong computer at internet.
Paano po kapag wala ring TV at radyo?
May ipamimigay na mga printed material ang mga teachers sa inyo.
Di ba po ang tawag dun blend.
Ako, blended learning. Ibig sabihin ng blended learning ay gagamitin ang iba't ibang pamamaraan ng pagtuturo gamit ang internet, ang TV, radyo at ang print para hindi kailangang pumunta sa school ng mga teachers at mga bata.
Kaya po pala si Teacher Rose hindi na rin kailangan pumasok ng school.
Tama, hindi na rin papasok ang mga teachers sa school para gagabayan pa rin nila kayo at laging tatawagan ang mga magulang para kukumustahin ang pag-aaral ng mga bata tulad mo.
Tumawag nga po si Teacher Rose sa nanay. Ang sabi niya, mag-download ng DepEd Commons sa cellphone Games ba yun, Lola?
May kasama ding games, pero yung may matutunan ka. May mga lessons din kasi sa DepEd Commons na pwedeng gamitin ng mga magulang at teachers para maturuan ang mga bata.
Sasabihin ko rin po kay Brian na mag-download siya ng DepEd Commons.
At sabihin mo rin sa kanya na huwag na siyang matakot mag-school. Dahil sa pasukan, sa bahay lang naman kayo mag-aaral. Gamit ang internet. Kung walang internet, TV. Kung walang TV, radyo. At kung walang radyo, ay print.
Oo nga po, Lola. Hindi naman...
Malayo na ang nilakbay natin sa edukasyon. Mula noong unang sibilisasyon hanggang dumating ang panahon ng kolonisasyon. Dinanas natin ang digmaan at sinapit ang kapayapaan. Sinubok man tayo ng maraming bagyo at dumating ang mga pagbabago. Hindi tayo huminto sa pagtuturo. Nagpatuloy ang ating pagkatuto. Hanggang sa kasalukuyan, habang binabagtas natin ang bagong normal, lumikha tayo ng iba't ibang pamamaraan upang maihatid ang edukasyon sa kabila ng krisis pangkalusugan. Ipinakilala natin ang blended learning sa mga Pilipino, kung saan lulan nito'y abot kamay na kaalaman para sa ating mga kabataan. Sa anumang sitwasyon at panahon, DepEd Blended Learning ang ating magiging tugon. Pinagsama-sama natin ang 5 magkakaibang paraan ng pag-aaral.
Reading is very clear about this. It's also encouraged that the learners do blending of the distance learning delivery modalities, meaning
Modules, DepEd TV, DepEd Online, DepEd Radio at Classroom. Sa pamamagitan ng mga pamamaraang ito ay masisiguro nating magpapatuloy ang edukasyon kahit pa may pandemya, kahit may armadong tunggalian o anumang uri ng sakuna sa ating bansa. Sa panahong hindi maaring gamitin ang ating mga silid-aralan, hindi pwede ang classroom instruction o yung face-to-face. Pwede pa ring manatili ang mga guro't mag-aaral sa kanilang mga tahanan at matuto pa rin gamit ang tinatawag nating modules. Ito ang una sa 5 paraan ng pag-aaral ngayon, kung saan printed materials o digital files ang maaaring gamitin upang matuto. Ang printed modules ay binubuo ng self-learning materials o SLMs, textbooks, supplementary reference materials, activity sheets at guides. Yan yung mga naka-imprenta. Samantalang ang digital files naman ay mga soft copies ng mga printed modules, mga episodes sa TV at DepEd Radio, yung mga Open Educational Resources o OERs. At lahat ng yan ay nakapaloob sa USB plus disk o hard drives or hard disk o nakasave sa mga CD o DVD na dinidistribute sa mga bata. Kung may telebisyon naman sa tahanan ng mga guro't mag-aaral, maaaring isabay ito sa paggamit ng modules dahil ang mga araling nakasulat dito ay nakasunod sa bawat episode ng DepEd TV. Pwedeng subaybayan ang mga leksyon ng ating teacher broadcasters sa IBC 13. Nandun yung DepEd TV. Hanapin lamang yan sa ating mga cables o sa CATV, sa Cable TV Networks, sa ating mga direct-to-home o mga black boxes o yung DTT na tinatawag, yung Direct Terrestrial TV o mga satellite dishes. Simula Lunes hanggang Sabado ay umeere ang mga asignaturang pang-kinder hanggang grade 12, pati ALS o Alternative Learning System. At kung sakali mang hindi maabutan ng mga bata ang mga aralin sa takda nitong oras, maaaring ulit-ulitin ang episodes ng DepEd TV sa pamamagitan ng pag-access sa DepEd online platforms o tawag natin dyan yung DepEd Online. Kung may cellphone o computer na may internet connection ang tahanan, maaaring sabayan ang modules at DepEd TV ng tinatawag nating DepEd Online, kung saan maaaring gamitin ng mga guro, mga magulang at mag-aaral ang iba't ibang online platforms katulad ng DepEd Commons, LR Portal, DepEd TV YouTube, DepEd TV Facebook, DepEd LMS o yung Learning Management System. Nandyan din yung paggamit ng Google Hangouts at Classroom, yung Microsoft Teams, at yan ay ginagawa sa pamamagitan ng local wide area networks na mayroon sa iba't ibang lugar. Sa DepEd Online rin matatagpuan ang mga electronic copies ng SLMs, mga episodes sa DepEd TV at radio, OERs at iba pang materyales sa pag-aaral na madadownload at mapapanood kahit anong oras. Samantala, kung wala namang TV o wala namang internet connection, subalit mayroong radyo, maaari ring itong gamitin sa loob ng tahanan. Maaaring mapakinggan sa DepEd Radio ang mga araling ipinalalabas sa DepEd TV. Mas epektibo kung ang pakikinig sa DepEd Radio ay sasabayan ng modules o pagbabasa ng mga materyales na hawak ng mga bata. Ang mga araling nakasulat sa printed modules ay mga araling ibo-broadcast sa local radio station. Alamin lamang sa eskwelahan, sa teacher o kaya sa dibisyon kung anong mga local radio stations ang magpapaere ng DepEd Radio. Yung iba nga ay handheld radios ang ginagamit. Tandaan na ang module printed man o digital, yung DepEd TV, DepEd Online at DepEd Radio ay magkakatuwang sa paghahatid ng karunungan sa mga mag-aaral. Importante ang kombinasyon ng mga ito upang maging epektibo ang tinatawag nating blended learning. Ibe-blend mo yung isang modality sa ibang modality. Ibe-blend natin o pagsasamahin natin yung printed module sa DepEd TV, sa DepEd Radio o kaya doon sa online. Kaya pwedeng kombinasyon ang tawag natin dito. At kung maaari nang bumalik sa paaralan para sa face-to-face classes, kung pwede nang magklase sa mga paaralan, yung modules, DepEd TV, DepEd Online at DepEd Radio ay may halaga pa rin dahil ito ay gagamitin pa rin, mas madaling matututo ang mga bata at matulungan sa mga pagtuturo ang mga guro. Sa pagbabalik tanaw man sa mga leksyon o paggawa ng mga takdang aralin, mas magiging magaan ang edukasyon para sa lahat dahil mas marami ang mga paraan, iba't ibang mga modalities. Hindi na magiging limitado sa silid-aralan ang dapat matutunan ng kabataan. Magmula ngayon, ang DepEd Online at ang DepEd Broadcast ay makakasama na natin sa biyahe ng edukasyon. May makakatuwang na sina mama at sir sa pagtuturo. Mas panatag na ang loob ni nanay at tatay dahil masusubaybayan nila ang kanilang mga anak at mapapanatiling ligtas sila sa loob ng mga tahanan. Malayo na ang mga nalakbay natin sa sistema ng edukasyon at sa patuloy nating biyahe at bayanihan, sisiguraduhin nating walang bata ang maiiwan.
Magtutulungan kami para magpatuloy ang edukasyon.
Ito ang biyahe edukasyon, our journey towards blended learning.
There we go. Welcome back po sa ating multimedia development for online tutorials. At a while ago, na-discuss po sa atin ni Sir Art ang theoretical foundations of video production, which concerns the pre, the during, and post-production. So at this moment, we shall be having a session on scriptwriting fundamentals, which is creating, engaging, and compelling stories through video lessons. And we shall be having two speakers sa session na ito. So to begin with, let me introduce to you our first speaker. She is a teacher 3 at Angeles City Science High School, wherein she completed her degrees, Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English, cum laude, and Master of Arts in Education major in English at Pampanga State Agricultural University. Currently, she is also pursuing her degree Doctor of Education major in Educational Management in the same university. Our speaker is an active speaker on TV production, campus journalism, and radio broadcasting. Some of her awards includes a school-based Outstanding Teacher Award, Parangal king Gelingan ng Angeleño as a winning coach in the National Schools Press Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the School Paper Advisor of the Scriptorium, the official publication of the Senior High School AXI, and the School Information Coordinator. Let us please welcome Ma'am Princess Chamson Sangalang for her presentation. Good morning, Ma'am.
Hello po, good morning. Naririnig po ako.
Loud and clear po sa akin. Sana loud and clear din po sa ating mga audience.
Okay po. Okay po, for a while, I am starting to share my screen. All right. There you go. Okay po. Nakikita naman po ang screen. Nakikita
Yes
po.
po, ma'am. Opo,
Okay.
dito po nakakikita. Di lang po siya naka-slideshow, ma'am.
Hindi pa po ba siya? Okay. Naka-slideshow na po siya sa akin. Hold on.
So, bali po, to give the audience an idea, ma'am, Ma'am Princess will be tackling about the general definition and codes po ng script writing. Then later on, meron pong ibang topic na pag-uusapan regarding pa rin naman po sa script writing ang ating pong next speaker.
There you go po. Sir Adrian,
Yan.
nakikita na po. Alright.
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes, thank you po Sir Adrian for the introduction and good morning din po. To our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Fernandina Ochenko, to our EPSS and PSDSS who are here po, sa aking pong mga kasamang participants, for this 5-day webinar series on TV production. A pleasant morning to all of you. Yes, Sir Adrian is right. Ako po si Ma'am Ces from Angeles City Science High School. Ma'am Floy and I will be sharing about script writing. But basically, we divided this session po into two. I will be sharing general terms and at the same time yung pong objectives ng script writing, and then Ma'am Floy will contextualize the discussion later. Meaning po, she will be sharing her significant experiences po as a DepEd national teacher broadcaster and how to write the content po, no? So let's get started. But before that, usual na po ito for every seminar, but I still find it significant and important, no? So let us empty our cup so that it can be filled, di ba po? This is a time for us to learn and at the same time unlearn and relearn po of new concepts and different things. Given that we are in this new normal, di ba po, bago po ito lahat sa atin, or probably no, sa mga iba po medyo awareness sila dito. But then again, no, sabi ko nga po, it's time for us to learn new things, relearn concepts, and unlearn obsolete and unnecessary information. With that being said, I am now sharing my screen about script writing and fundamentals and the parts of the script. Magandang buhay po. Magandang buhay. Yan, mabuting tao. Ayan, alam ko pong nag-reply po kayo, no? Thank you po sa mga nag-reply. But then again, allow me to share the objectives for this session. So at the end of my talk, I would like to personally have these objectives para po sa lahat ng ating participants. First of, to define what script is, identify the members of the team, though I believe Sir Art already mentioned about this. No, ililist ko lang din po sila later, and then be familiarized with the codes and name the parts of speech. And then Ma'am Floy later will contextualize the discussion. Yan. You might be wondering, no, kung saan po galing ang aking mga references. Well, the core of my presentation, no, ay galing po sa talk ni Mr. Joey Silva, the regional speaker po, no, that we have attended last September, if I'm not mistaken, alongside with other English teachers po. And Mr. Dominic Bolo, who happens to be our resident trainer in journalism. No? So pinag-combine ko po sila para po mas maintindihan, we could actually understand po, and mas clear po siya. No, by the way, these are not my photos. With their permission, no, hinigi ko po yung photos nila. There you go. So let's get started. Ayan. This is actually an actual photo sa actual footage ng 24 oras given by our resident trainer, Mr. Dominic Bolo. So nasa field po talaga siya ng journalism. No, PEP TV, segment producer, and freelance journalist po talaga siya. Ayan. As you can see po, ayan, nag-leak siya, merong pa-review ang script, please. No? Akala po kasi natin ng mga anchors, they will just read and all. No? Pero the truth of the matter is, talaga pong nire-review nila ang script. Well, you might be asking me, why did I start with this kind of photo? To tell you po that script is really important. No? Like, if meron pong mali sa script, this will surely affect the entire production. No, to support this claim, I have several slides po, no, and I hope matapos po natin ito, or I can finish this one with you guys. Alright, sige po. I shall now move on. Ayan po, definition of a script. Okay, a script, for all we know, no, something that is written, di ba po, ang binabasa. Well, basically, totoo naman po iyon, no? But the Oxford Languages Dictionary would give us this, handwriting as distinct from print, with written characters, of course. A written text of a play, movie, or a broadcast. Tama? Yan po usually ang first definition or meanings that we could actually think of. And that is correct. But allow me to share something about script sa lens naman po ng isang broadcaster. Right? Is the heart and soul of every successful theatrical play, a broadcast media, or any video presentation. No, heart and soul po talaga yan. That means it is really important. Without the script, mahihirapan po ang ating mga videographers, ang ating mga animators, because they will not have a guide. Alright? Script. Yan po. Probably you could think of other terms like blueprint, like that, guides. Tama po lahat ng mga iyon. Alright? Also, script is meant to be the technical instructions of what you are witnessing. Okay? There is this stigma na pag script po, yun lang ang sinasabi ni anchor, okay, or ni talent. Ang totoo po, pati po ang ginagawa or ipe-present, let's say for an instance po, no, ito, pine-present po ni Sir Noel, no, nasa script din po iyon. Okay, so FYI po. And again, I would like to give emphasis on this. Script is the heart and soul of every successful theatrical play, broadcast media, or any video presentation. No po, heart and soul, core po talaga iyan ng bawat broadcast. There was this time, coach po ako ng radio and TV broadcasting. Like, hindi po ako nananalo sa radio. Yan, nananalo po kami second, hindi po kami nagpa-first. In short, hindi po kami nag-NSPC. To find out, sabi ko po kay Mr. Bolo, bakit po kaya hindi kami nananalo? Nananalo man pong anchors ko, no? He mentioned, ma'am, check the script. Okay? Yun po ang ginawa namin. And let's say for an instance, may problem po lahat sa technical, no? Hindi nag-play ang laptop, hindi nag-play ang video. Say lahat po ng mga contestants, ganoon ang nangyari. Ano po ang basihan nila? Ang script po. Okay? I believe si Sir Nestor po nandito. Ganun po yung nangyari sa Filipino. Nagkaroon po lahat ng technical problem during the TV broadcasting. Okay? Halos po lahat yon. Ano pong napagbasihan? Bakit sila po yung nag-emerge sa NSPC na kasama namin? Script po. Rafi Timo for one, very particular po siya sa script. Right? Furthermore, script is one of the first steps for creating video project in script writing. A script is a document that describes, sabi ko nga po, hindi lang yung sinasabi ng anchors, but also the video. That includes as well the description of the shots, of the videos, of the technical aspects po ng isang production, be it a TV production or a radio production. Okay? And last, a script also serves as a planning device for the video. Ayan, yes po, bago po natin gawin ang video, we need to check for the script. Okay? May question po ako. As teachers, we have our scripts. Whether in the old normal or ngayon pong new normal. Ano po kaya ang script natin? Pwede po kaya natin i-type sa chat box. Sino po ang may idea? Just to know your idea. Opo. Ano po kaya ang script natin that I am talking about? Sabi ko nga po, it can be in the new normal. It can also be in the old normal. Yes po. Any wild guesses? Live chat. Let me see po. Lesson plan. Yes, thank you po, Ma'am Agnes Punzalan. Lesson plan or DLL. I would like to agree with Ma'am Punzalan na ang ating pong lesson plan or DLL ang ating script. In the new normal, probably our weekly home learning plans. No po. But of course, we will have a different script if we are about to do yung pong itulay na sessions or tutorial sessions po na ganito. Alright. So, importance of script. I bet we could all explain bakit po importante ang script. But then again, allow me to cite 3 importance or benefits of the script and the script writing. Number 1, and as I have mentioned a while back, it is our guide. No, our blueprint. Para po hindi tayo maligaw. No? In general, that is a script. But apart from that, through the use of the script, the anchor, okay, or slash sa gagawin po natin, the tutor, alright, or yung pong talent natin, could actually cast, yung emotions and act out, di ba? Kasi po pagka binasa lang natin yan, instead of us merely reading the script, chances are nawawala po yung tinatawag na style, No po. And yung puso ng balitaan, ang puso ng ating sinasabi. And so if we have script, instead of us reading lang, we could practice in advance. Diba po? Kung ano yung bibigyan natin ng diin, diba? Lalagyan natin ng konting kilite, may patawa or may pasayaw. So, dahil po yun sa script. Okay? Number 2 po yun. Number 3, through the use of script, we could improve the overall output. No? Opo, so makikita natin, we could check in advance. Like, this one is not good. Pwede nating dagdagan ito. Pwede po nating bawasan dito. Now, if we don't have a copy, we cannot do that. No? Ganoon po iyon. Kaya, script is very important po sa isang TV broadcast. Kahit sa radio broadcast naman po. Yeah. Who are the members? Sir Art mentioned this one already. And I believe Sir Jamisil, kung ano po yung pronunciation ng name niya, EdTech or coming from the central office, will be sharing and discussing the roles and responsibilities of each members. But in advance po, I wish to share the members. First of, the content editor, yan po. So after the script was written, i-check po yan ni content editor, and then illustrator, animator, video editor, and then the scriptwriter or the talent. Yes po. Sino po dito yung mga talent natin? Sino po sila per section? Ayun po. Per subject, should I say. Sino po ang mga talent? Ayun po. Hindi lang po talent yung magiging task natin, but instead, okay, tayo rin po ang magsusulat ng script. Yes po. Sino po yung mga talent natin or tutor? Sa English po, I think si Ma'am Marcela Jinko. Yes po. Kasama po ako dun sa member doon. Sa Filipino po, I think si Sir Nestor de Guzman. Sa iba pong subjects, sino po yung tutor? Yes po. Sige. Ayan po, okay po. So, as I have mentioned, si talent and tutor, hindi lang po sila yung mag-a-appear sa video. At the same time, sila din, you might be wondering, yung iba i-edit lang, yung iba, sila lang ang mag-proofread and all. Ako nang lilitaw, then ako pa pala ang susulat ng script. Logically speaking po, ang reason po behind that is, para po at least alam natin, tayong gumawa, mas mapoportray po natin, mas mabibigyan natin ng buhay ang ating broadcast. That is why, no, tayo din po ang susulat. No? Pero sa contest po, usually, iba ang scriptwriter ko, iba rin po ang anchor, no? Yun po. Pero sa atin po, sa DepEd, the scriptwriter will always be the talent. Though nandyan po si content editor, yung mismong lesson po, no, I believe si talent and tutor po ang magsusulat noon. Alright po? Yes. So you might be wondering what's the difference between a typical script like script in a play and a radio or a TV broadcast. Okay? Ganito po. Script, formal. No? Language per se, formal po yan. Radio and TV script, informal. Bakit po? Later, I will give dimensions or aspects na nagiging informal. And then, standard spelling guide, phonetic guide. Okay? So, what am I talking about po? Ayan, before I explain the matter, allow me to share this. Characteristics of electronic media or ang TV broadcast. First off, ito po ay audio-visual. Opo. Audio-visual. Ayun po, si Sir Noel Musni sa MAPE. Sa kinder po, si Ma'am Gergentino. Okay, sa science po, si Ma'am Agnes. Sige po. TV, it's audio-visual. No? Naririnig and nakikita po natin. Unlike sa radio, mas mahirap po sa radio. Kaya napaka-simple po ng terms in radio broadcasting. It's because maririnig lang po yan. No? Unlike in TV, mas lasting po ang information because we can see it and at the same time, we can hear it. Diba po? So, mas lasting ang information. Apart from that dynamic, so productive po talaga ang isang TV broadcast na mapoproduce. Virtual, and distance mode, di ba? Who would have thought po ba na we will have this kind of distance learning, hindi ba? Dati po, talagang face-to-face. But because of the pandemic, we have this one, no? Kala po natin dati, pang contest lang si TV production, si radio production. But now, because of the pandemic, no, ginagamit na rin po natin sila sa pagtuturo. Though ginagamit naman po sila before, but nowadays, mas ginagamit po sila. No, evident po yan dahil we have DepEd TV, e-tutorial sessions, no? So lahat po ng yan ay electronic media. Okay? Yan. Let's go down to details po. Print ng script, usually DepEd, ganyan po ang acronyms natin, COMELEC and WHO or WHO. But in a broadcast script, we actually use DepEd. Ayan, yan po yung may hyphen. Balikan ko lang po yung slide. There you go. Phonetic guide po ang spelling niya. Alright? For us teachers, no, alam naman po kasi natin ng DepEd. No? So kahit wala na po itong hyphen, that's okay. Alright? Pero po sa mga bata, pinapalagyan ko po ng DepEd. Kasi nga, they might put the stress wrongly. Mali po yung pagkakagamit ng ano. Kaya po ganyan. COMELEC saying that, ito po, instead of WHO, isulat po natin sa script ng WHO. Bakit po ganyan ang pagkakasulat? You might be wondering. Para po mas madaling mabasa ni Anchor. Okay? Mas madaling mabasa ni Talent. No? Again, for acronyms. Ayan. Another common practice po in TV broadcasting, specifically in writing, numbers. Ayan. Combination of two numbers. Okay? Ito po, instead of 1,025, 1,000, pag dalawa na po sila, 25. Figures na po. Okay? For the dates naman po, instead of August 1, August 1st. Okay? Sa Filipino, ikalabing-dalawa ng Enero. Ganoon po. No? So, ganyan po ang pagsulat in general sa script. Ano pa po ang very important? Sa mga kasamahan po natin na nag-MC, usually we have this, diba? Ganito pong ginagamit natin. Cesar Feliciano, the secondary school principal. No? Siyang sa amin pong principal si Ma'am Kazarina L. David, secondary school principal. Okay, usually. But, in writing a TV script, baligtad po. Okay, secondary school principal, yan, Mrs. Kazarina L. David. Ganun po siya dapat. Okay, common po na practices yan or usual things that we do in writing a TV script. Yan. This time po, allow me to share with you our script, DepEdAngeles City Senior High School Team script. So after the seminar last August, come September, nag-produce din po kami nito. Okay po, so baka sabihin po natin na hindi po, ang galing sabihin po para sa mga nagtotalk kasi hindi po namin ginawa. Ginawa din po namin to, so medyo matrabaho po talaga siya. Okay, with the information of my co-writer, Ma'am Floy, na partner ko din po later, no, ito po. I have the screenshot of our script. Yan po ang script natin. I am highlighting this one. Ayan, sabi ko nga po, since teacher tayo, kahit wala na si hyphen, okay, pero pwede rin pong lagyan. Ito po, instead of ACTVA, yan, ganyan po dapat ang pagkakasulat. So, the name of our broadcast ay ACTV, Angeles City TV. Yan po ang aming sample script. Okay? Types of script. Basically, we have three: narrative, storyboard, and production. Pero ano pong gagamitin natin for this activity, for this production? We will have narrative script. Why? Okay? Narrative script po kasi is a type of script that is used to narrate an event. In our case, we are going to narrate or explain a story. For English po siguro, no? Rules and grammar, di ba po? For math, siguro po ang mga steps to solve a problem, no? Yung po mga ganoon. For araling panlipunan, say, we will narrate po, you know, yung mga past events, ganyan, ang World War. So, we are going to use a narrative type of script for us teachers. Yeah? Parts of the TV script. Ayan po. So, we know exactly ano pong gagamitin natin. We will be using narrative script for our activity, or should I say, ang ating pong itulay, localized version, no? SDOAC version. Ngayon po, start na po tayo sa script. Okay? Ito po ay sample. Diba? Malilito po kayo, ano yan? Ang dami-dami pong nakalagay, a combination of numbers and letters. Ne? Technical po talaga. Okay? But allow me to share this one. Ang script po natin usually has 3 columns. First, storyboard or shot number. The second column, technical directions. And the third one, the audio or the voice over. Okay? So ano po ang nakalagay dyan? What are the things that we should include per column? Okay? I will be explaining each po and giving examples as well by showing our script. Though later po, Ma'am Floy will share yung pong script niya sa DepEd na ginagamit niya sa DepEd TV. First off, we have line count number. Ayan. Yes po, lahat po ng sasabihin natin, we are going to write or type, no, sa last column po, yan, double space. Okay, preferably double space. Bakit po double space? Since we are dealing with words, tapos babasahin po yan ni anchor or ni tutor, chances are, baka malito po tayo. So, dapat naka-double space po. Yan po yung reason doon. Okay? Except, pag magkadugtong po, yan, let's say yung 2 and 3, dahil magkadugtong po sila, meaning sa isang phrase na yon or sentence, magkasama. Alright po? Line number. You might be wondering, how come we have this line number? May number po ang ating mga lines para just in case we would like to correct something. Say, hindi po ma-pronounce ni anchor ang line number 6, access to real-time updates. No? So, titingnan po yan ni content editor. Okay? Line 6. So, sige, palitan po natin. Say, nagkakaroon po siya ng trouble pronouncing access. Papalitan po siya. Okay? Or, content ng line 8, hindi sure or hindi clear, confusing headlines, misleading headline. Okay? So, papalitan po ang line number 8. Okay? So, yun po yung reason why we have line count numbers. Ano pa po ang nilalagay natin? Ayan. As you can see, in the second column, we could have, or we could see there, OBB, tapos meron siyang BCGM. Background music po yun. So, technical directions, what will happen? No? Doon po sa music, doon po sa video, ano pong mangyayari? Nilalagay po natin ang mga directions na yon sa column number 2 that talks about the technical directions. Ano-ano po iyan? No? Music fade in, fade under, mamaya po i-discuss ko sila isa-isa. And then, for the first column, we have, eto po, first column, storyboard and shot number. Right? Sabi ko po a while back, di ba? It's audio plus visual. We can hear it, we can see it. Yan. Dito po, kung anong mangyayari, dito, ano naman po ang makikita natin? Ito po ang guide. No? Say for example, ngayon po, si Sir Noel ang nagpe-play ng broadcast na ito po ang guide niya, ang storyboard or shot number. Okay po? Sige, let's move on po. Yan. Sa taas po niya, as you can see, we have this, a sample of TV production script. Ayan. We have page number. Bago po yung 3 columns, ito muna po. Alright? Page number, upper right. Ayan. Baka tanungin niyo po, pwede po ba siya sa left? Okay, actually sa right po siya ideally. Bakit po? Kasi pag sa left, usually dun po yung stapler. Pero ang suggestion po natin sa broadcasting, ang stapler nasa baba. Bakit po? Kasi pagka po yan sa taas, babasahin yan, magti-take po ng time pag nag-turn. Unlike pag nasa baba, baba na lang, mabilis po. Okay? So, sa baba. That is why, pinaka-safe na location ng page number ay upper right. No? Pinaka-safe. And then again, yan, we have the title of our broadcast or simply our lesson. Yes. And then our airtime. Okay? Ideally, 20 to 30 minutes per episode. Okay? If you're going to ask me po kung fix na po iyan, usually nag-run naman po siya dyan. Hindi na po pwedeng mas madami kasi yung attention po ng bata na manonood. So, ideally, again po, ideally. Okay? There you go. So, okay, meron po tayong 20 to 30 minutes time ng isang episode or ng discussion. You might be wondering, so paano namin nakakalculate? No? Napaka-ideal po talaga at technical ng pagsulat ng script as well as the broadcast. Ito po ang technique, 2 words per second. No? And then 300 per page, 2.5 minutes per page. Pero pwede po bang hindi i-follow to? May mga cases po, and actually sa actual, mahirap po siyang i-follow. Siyempre po si tutor or the talent or the anchor, pwedeng lulunok muna, or di ba, merong hangin, tapos eventually mag-stop siya, pwede niyang bilisan. So, pwede naman po iyon, no problem with that, basta't ma-deliver po siya ng maayos. Sabi ko nga po, ideally, ito lang po yung prescribed, kumbaga, no? Pero pwede naman pong ma-alter yan. Okay? Yan po. So, we have the page number, we have the airtime. Ayan. I will explain further ang 3 columns po. Yan. First off, we have storyboard or the shot number. First column po yan. The next one is technical directions or directions, and then the audio or the voiceover. Yan. Okay? Say next page po tayo, we need to include this one, continue. Yan. Dapat nandyan po yan. Example naman po, we are about to finish our script. Let us not forget to include the word end. Yan. Sa dulo po ng page ng ating script. Okay po. Yan. Things to consider in writing technical directions. Column number 2. Ayan. So, ano po ba ang kailangan natin i-consider dyan? Okay? First, mode. Meaning, ano po ang type? And the length of time. Example, music crossfade. Ayan po ang mode niya, crossfade. Length of time, 1 second. Okay? So, ano po ba yung fade in, fade out? Ito po. Okay? Fade in. Hindi po tayo mag-start ng sound na agad malakas. So, we will start dun sa volume niya na 0 going up. Yung dun, gano'n. Fade in. Fade out, ganun din po ang pagpatay. Hindi po natin siya pwedeng patayin ng abrupt. Okay? Dan. Hanggang sa wala ng sound, fade out po yun. Okay? Bed. Okay? Bed, yun po yung music na, anong tawag dito? Naka-play. Okay? Sustain. Kung ano po yung volume niya, say, max volume. Okay? Kung hindi po nagbabago, ang tawag doon, sustain. Okay? Pag nagbabago po, tanggalin na si sustain. Alright? Yan. Crossfade. Minsan po, no, dalawa ang ating background music. Okay? Or pwedeng meron tayong background music, tapos magpapatugtog pa tayo ng isa pa. Alright? Ang tawag po doon, crossfade. No? Yan. And then, establish. Okay? Establish, example po, nagsasalita na si Anchor. Alright? Sige, nasa medium na lang po or low na lang po ang ating volume, yun na po yung establish. Cut, yan po. Sa broadcasting po, napakahalaga ng time kasi binabayaran po yan. No? So, pag 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Sa NSPC po, pagka sumobra ng 5 minutes, nababawasan po ang score for every 10 seconds. So, halimbawa po, sumobra kami ng 3 seconds. Alright? 1 point deduction. 12 seconds, so by 10, 2 points, no? Kasi nga po, binabayaran ng airtime. So, pagka ang technique po ng mga bata, para hindi kami sumobra sa oras, we will cut. Okay, so, 24 hours, hindi mo na hihina, hindi mo na po gano'n, hindi mo na siya i-fade out, cut abrupt na po ang tawag doon. And then under, okay? So, meron pong isang music, meron ka pang isa, no, nagsusustain, dalawa, provided hindi po sila masakit sa tenga, tawag po doon ay under. Okay? So, pili lang po tayo dyan. If you're going to ask me, ano yung usual? Siyempre po, yung fade in, kasi yun yung pag-enter ng music, fade out, and sustain. Okay? Saan po makikita si cut? Dun sa end ng ating script. Okay? End po ng ating script. Okay po? Sige. Sige po. Ayan. Alright. Yan. For example po, fade in, under, and fade out. Sabi ko nga po, these are the usual technical directions for background music that we use. No, yan po ang ginagamit natin. Okay? Next po, things to consider in writing technical direction, the video shot orientation. So Art mentioned this one a while ago, no? In-explain din po niya ng comprehensively. Okay, so dadaanan ko na lang po siya. Close up, medium shot, or MS. Ang code po dyan ay CU, MS, LS, ECU. Alright? For example, tapos na po tayo kay music, ha? So doon naman po sa video shot. MS, ano po ang MES? Medium shot. Panning. Ano po yung panning? Okay? Yung mga teachers po dito na nagpa-photography, okay, or nagtitake ng photos, di ba? Mag-start tayo horizontally, yan. From left to right, panning po ang tawag doon, or from right to left, panning. Pwede rin pong pataas. Magmula sa baba, pataas, panning po ang tawag doon. No? So ano po ang CU, MS, LS, ECU? Ayan po. Okay. Si Mike Enriquez po. Okay, nasaan po kaya dyan ang MS? Medium shot. Saan po kaya? 1, 2, or 3 po ang medium shot. Sige po. If okay lang po siya, paki-chat po sa live chat. Medium shot. Ni Mike Enriquez. Sige po, waiting for answers. Alright, Ma'am Julina and Manese, tama po. Number 2. Medium shot, usually half body. Okay po. Nasaan po dyan ang close up? Close up. Yan po. Thank you po sa mga sumagot. Ang close up naman po. Yes, number 3 po siya. No, ngayon, ano naman po yung number 1? Okay, yan po yung long shot. Okay? Long shot po ito. Long shot as in yung whole body. Okay? If you're going to ask me, ginagamit ba lahat yan? Sa broadcast po usually, mga sa TV, ginagamit po talaga. But usually, sabi nga po ni Sir Art, dito tayo sa number 2, medium. Medium shot lang po siya. Alright? Yes. Okay? Yun po. Sa script po natin, saan natin makikita yan? There you go. MS panning. Okay? Yan. So, tapos na po tayo sa station ID, music fade in, fade out, and under. Ngayon po sa MS, yan, medium shot. Ano naman po ang NA? Observe, Reggie. Okay, you might be wondering, what is NA? Yun po yung sinabi kanina na angle. Alright? A stands for high angle, NA for normal angle, and LA for low angle. High angle, yan. Sige. Alin po dyan ang high angle? Ano pong number yung high angle? Number? Opo, high angle. Yes po, high angle ay number 2. Actually, yung number 1 po, yan, ang tawag po natin dyan ay normal angle. No? Walang problema. Usually, nakakalito lang po dyan ang 2 and 3. High angle, basta galing po sa taas si cam, alright, high angle. Low angle, pareho lang naman po kasing nag-review sila ng pataas. Yung low angle, yung number 3 po. Okay? Yan. So, nasaan po ang ating angle? There you go. Normal angle po ang ginamit namin dyan, observe Reggie, who happens to be our co-anchor dun po sa production namin. Okay po? Yan. There you go. So, alam na po natin ang lahat for technical directions. Alright, let us proceed. But ever wonder what happened to this session? Like, ano po ang mangyayari sa video? Okay? For the storyboard and shot number, alright? We also have visual techniques, no? Ang visual, ang storyboard po, like anong video ang ipa-play, anong photo ang ipa-flash. Ganun po siya, no? So, ano po ang gagamitin natin siya? It can be a flashback, a flash forward, no? Usually po kanina, when ini-interview po ni Sir Adrian si Sir Art, split screen po ang tawag doon. Okay? And then, pagka mawawala na po yung mga screens, dissolve na po ang tawag. Okay po. Yan. Alright. Apart po dun sa 3 columns na yon, what are the other parts of a TV script? Yan. Very important. This is very important po, no? Yan. First po is OBB. Ano po ang OBB? Opening billboard. Yan. Yung pong sandigan ng katotohanan, 24 oras. Yun po ang OBB. Usually, 10 seconds po yan. Again, if you are going to ask me, fix po ba ang 10 seconds? Idea lang po yan. Suggestion. Maganda po if we can follow, di ba? Mas pulido, mas logical. But then again, pwede naman po na magbago. Sabi ko nga, in actual, sa totoo lang po, nagbabago po yan. No? Experience ko po as a coach, kadalasan po hindi nasusunod ng mga bata. No, kasi nga po yon yung magbabakal, ganoon po, or medyo mag-stutter po siya sa pagsasalita, then hindi niya mafa-follow. And then introduction. Yan. 30 seconds. Statement of objectives nung lessons po natin, no? Or yung MELCs. Yan, sa MELCs po. 30 seconds din po yon. And then the lesson proper, which is the heart of the balitaan of our TV broadcast, of our session, 15 to 20 minutes. And then activity po, if by chance no, you have an activity, 2 minutes, take home evaluation or home task, 2 minutes din po. Ayan, extra. If we have opening, we also have closing. No? Same lang po ba ang sinasabi? Usually, same lang naman po ang pattern. No, yun nga lang, meron lang pong parting words sa CBB. Okay? Nasaan po ba? Ayan. Ito po ang aming OBB. Good morning, Central Luzon. Good morning, Angeles City. This is DepEd AC TV. Yan po yung terming sasabihin. Kukunin din po ito. Again, this has been your DepEd AC TV, your access for real-time updates. This is Princess Sangalang. Have a good day. Halos same lang naman po. Yun nga lang sa mga words na gagamitin. Dito po kasi you are introducing something and then dun sa CBB, parting words na po. Alright? So, ganun po yung sa extra or CBB. Alright po? Ayan. Asking po, gusto po nating itanong, how to write now? What would be the content? Ma'am says, ito ba nice content siya? This one, nice strategy ba? Or in DepEd TV, paano ba nila ginagawa yun? Now, these pieces of information po will be shared to us by my partner, a certified National DepEd TV teacher broadcaster. No po? But before that, keep calm. And very soon, we will write the script. Thank you so much for listening po. By the way, here are my references, no? Specific references apart from the talk of Mr. Joey Silva and Mr. Dominic Bolo. Ito pa po yung mga other references na ginamit ko. I will now stop sharing my screen. I will now give the floor to my partner to discuss something. No? Sabi ko nga po, yung contextualized version ng script writing will be sent by my partner who happens to be a DepEd teacher broadcaster. Okay po? I know you have questions or clarifications. Later po in the Q&A, we will answer those questions po. Alright? Thank you very much po. Ma'am Floy, take it away.
There you go. Thank you so much po, Ma'am Princess Sangalang, ang ating pong Teacher 3 at ang ating pong National Awardee po ng mga National Press Conferences. Thank you so much po for your insightful and informative presentation. And we shall now proceed to the second part of script writing. And before ko po siya ibigay sa inyo, I would like to introduce her first and for us to have a better idea of who she is. The next speaker who will be joining us today is a highly energetic and passionate senior high school teacher from Aksay, who is specializing in English. She has been engaged in roles and responsibilities in the different levels of the department. To name a few, she is one of the 3 representatives from DepEdAngeles City who qualified as a National DepEd TV teacher broadcaster for reading and writing and a TV scriptwriter for other English subjects in senior high school. She is also a certified Microsoft Education Ambassador who facilitated advanced sessions for Angeles City National Trade School teachers and staff last December 2020. Our speaker is also a moderator of virtual events in the division of Angeles City as well as a creative team member of DepEdAngeles. She is also a regional winner for facilitating the School Brigada Eskwela of Aksay Senior High School as the BE coordinator last school year or this school year. In addition to those, she has been diligent in her roles as School Learning Resource Center coordinator, and then also she is one of the moderators of the school Facebook page. In terms of script writing experience outside the department, our speaker performed developmental editing to project-based English modules for Rex Learning Solutions. She also facilitates content and language editing to learning materials under the MyDesk ELM projects. She also has a fair share of QA experience as CEET certifier for concentric trainers across the globe and has offered communications and culture training for the BPO industry ever since. Academically, our speaker has been one of the few in her university to receive the PD 907 Civil Service Honor Graduate Eligibility shortly after her graduation. She has excelled as a cum laude graduate and consistent Dean's Lister of the course BS Ed English at Holy Name University. Our speaker also worked her way through college with CHED STU-FAP half merit scholarship and had juggled leadership positions like President of the University Scholar Society and Senator of the Central Student Government. Her most prominent recognition is the Leadership Award granted by the Rotary Club International District 3860. And lately, our speaker is having her thesis writing after completing her academic units and taking the comprehensive exam under Holy Angel University's Master of Art in English Language and Literature Teaching Program. Ladies and gentlemen, let us please welcome our speaker, Ma'am Florence De Vera. Ma'am, welcome po, ma'am.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Perfect. So, check ko lang, sir. Pa-confirm lang. Nakikita niyo po ba yung slide ko? How about this? Nakikita po, full screen?
Yan, okay na po. Naka-share screen na po siya.
Alright. So, thank you so much, sir, for that introduction. I'm very happy and glad po that I was one of those who are invited to share my learnings at DepEd TV. So to our SDS, Ma'am Doc Irene Tamayo, Ma'am Ochenko, our ASDS, our PSDS or program supervisors, my fellow tutors and broadcasters, Sir Noel, Ma'am Arceli, and the rest of the team or organizing team for this event under, of course, the project of Doc Emily Sarmiento, and of course, the post-prod team who are also joining, team members who are joining this morning. So this is just a continuation of the discussion of my dear friend, Ma'am Ses. So script writing fundamentals, creating engaging and compelling stories through video lessons. Now, how do we translate that to our scripts? Engaging, compelling. So medyo madali lang po siya pakinggan, madaling gawin in our thoughts, but it can pose a little difficulty when we go through the tedious process of script writing. So kahit po baka matulad po kayo sa akin in the future na parang nakikipag-compete na po tayo sa IBACs and all, we have to make sure that kahit meron pa po tayong mga concerns off-cam, pag on-cam na po tayo, yung roles natin na paging engaging at compelling, andyan po yan from start till the end of the broadcast. So let's begin with, hold on, okay, sige, tama. Social content guidelines for the development of learning resources for radio and video or TV lessons. So maraming guidelines. I was planning to record this part pero I had some difficulties at home, especially in uploading the video. Pero nonetheless, let's go through them. I know, merong iba alam na to, pero review lang po natin para po sure po tayo sa direction ng mga scripts natin. The social content guidelines is, the child-friendly content standards is pursuant to Section 9 of RA number 8370, otherwise known as Children's Television Act of 1997. Merong mangilan-ngilang topics na kailangan nating i-consider as we go through our scripts. First of which would be dialogue, whether the dialogue would be through words or gestures or in short, verbal and non-verbal communication. All those aspects when speaking, we have to make sure that we're not encouraging children or we're not suggesting them to be disrespectful towards others. Kahit sinong tao pa yon. Kasi we really wanted them to maintain, hindi lang po, parang when they grow older, they would know na, ay, kausap ko si ganito klaseng tao, teacher ko, parents ko. Hindi lang sila maging choosy, kumbaga, sa sino at paano sila mag-show ng respect towards others. They manifest it whenever, wherever, and whosoever they deal with. Comedy bar spells are a big no-no for online episodes. Kung sa mga vlog po, uso po yun para makaraming views. When it comes to educational lessons po or dialogues, bawal po yun. So, kahit po informal in nature siya kasi nagiging conversational po tayo, we also have to make sure na angkop pa rin po siya sa lessons at tapos wala po tayong natatama ang tao. So, bawal po yung mga comedy bar spells. So, second, language. Hindi po dapat vulgar, profane, sexually suggestive, derogatory, and if possible po, tanggal po natin yung slang. Hindi ibig sabihin na conversational, pwedeng mag-slang. Example, yung pinakauso ngayon, oh, si Teacher Florence, sakalam. So, when you say sakalam, baliktad po yan, malakas po yan. So, although it's fun to hear, nakakainggan nyo po todo sa audience, let's reduce. Kung meron mang ganon, isa or dalawang instance lang sa buong episode. The rest, simple language, normal language. So, yun po. Third, nutrition. So, anything that promotes or condones unhealthy eating. Ouch. Junk foods, bawal i-feature. Ice cream, kahit masarap, bawal po natin yung i-ano. And yung mga unhealthy milk chocolates, dark, pwedeng malusutan. Pero kung pwede, let's reduce showing those things unless if yung episode nyo gustong i-portray or i-depict na dapat yung bata hindi parating kumakain ng mga ganon. Pwede silang i-feature. Pero dapat ini-explain explicitly ng tutor or broadcaster na hindi naman sa bawal, pero discouraged to a full extent. Okay? Next, sex and nudity. I hope I'm not that fast. Haba-haba kasi ng slides ko. Parati po pag nagtutalk ako during lunchtime, apart from my participants already are yung mga tummies nila gumagalaw, pati ako gutom na ako. Pero okay lang po. Life goes on. Sex and nudity, again, anything that's sexually suggestive, bawal po yun. Very, po yung mga matters na yun. Kung pwede, hindi natin i-discuss or pahapyaw nating i-joke. Yung mga green jokes natin, bawal po yun. In fact, it's a from personal experience. There are a lot of off-site location na shoot po namin na sobra po talagang init na parang nilagay po, para po akong ginawang litson po. Sobrang humid po ng weather condition ng area. There's this area na pinuntahan namin. So, despite po the humidity, hindi po namin pwedeng gawin na i-off shoulder po yung mga damit po namin. Bawal na bawal po yun. Hindi bawal na yun. Bawal po talaga yun. We have to look professional as much as possible. And it starts from us, tayo mismo. Dapat we don't condone those actions. Fifth one, violence. Bawal po yun. Kipag-away, suntukan. Substance use. So, anything related to tobacco, smoking, vaping even, or any harmful substance, drugs, most like ecstasy, mga ganun siya po, bawal po yun. Okay? Seventh, gambling. Kahit po simple, pustahan tayo. Kahit yung very simple na line na yun, that's already suggesting that you wanted to bet or gamble. So, even the show of cards, bawal po yun. Advertisements. Yung po natin, yung episodes po natin in the future, we aren't really encouraged to advertise or promote products. If you notice in some movies, naka-blurred out po yung mga products. Like for instance, Vicks. So kahit nagpakita ka ng Vicks, naka-blurred out po yan. Or if you plan on working with the illustrator or graphics artist din, or ikaw mismo nag-retrieve ng image or video online, kung hindi naka-blur, talagang talaga siya, parang tanggalin mo na talaga lahat ng andito. Okay? Kahit nagsasuggest na alam natin yung item, wala dapat na product name na nakalabas. Okay? Unless if paid. Pero hindi naman tayo paid. We're all doing this for free in the service of the students. Next, Broadcast Code of the Philippines 2007 that was also amended in 2011. We're actually emphasizing more items here. We wanted to make sure that our students are physically, mentally, psychologically, and morally okay. Hindi po natin sila hina-harm. Hindi po tayo nagsasuggest or nagkukos ng depression po nila, bawal po yun. As much as possible po, when we go through our material or script writing per se, dapat po with all, hindi ko naman sinasabing sobrang perfect, pero let's give them a virtual environment that works, na talagang walang reason na hindi sila maka-learn kasi hindi sila distracted sa ibang aspects na nakaka-distract sa kanila, physically, mentally, and so on. Okay? Next, discrimination. Color, ethnicity, race. So, yun po. Gender, physical, mental disability. During my, even now that I'm with one of my part-time jobs, one talaga, isa lang po ay yung part-time job ko pala. Feeling ko lang marami. Dati po madami, pero before getting to DepEd, pero ngayon isa lang po. So I shifted from being a university professor, nag-ano na po ako, nag-editor na po ako. So when I do developmental editing po, yung number one po na very common at minsan po hindi naman po sinasadya sa learning materials. And I'm sure if we try to present them on cam, hindi din po natin sinasadya. Pero kung when we're going through the script writing process, kung pwede, iwasan na po natin. Example po, gender. Let's say, no, not let's say, there's really this activity that existed in a learning material. Nakalagay po, describe or parang i-name po, no, name the person in the picture and make sure that that personality, the type of personality na kung sino siya or ano siya i-indicate. So for example, mukha ni Jose Rizal na sa picture. So Dr. Jose Protancio, P. Rizal rather. Tapos nakalagay sa baba, hero. So ganon, Philippine hero. So ganon yung activity. However, when you go through the end, ang ganda na ng flow ng activity. Kaso, medyo na-stuck po kami doon sa last na item. Kasi, may babaeng personality na feature. Number one, kahit subtle lang po yun, discrimination pa rin po yun. If you have around 10 items or 5 pictures or let's say 6 to be para even number, sa video, kung naka-mention po tayo ng 3 lalaki, 3 babae din po i-mention natin para po may balance. Okay? So, para po maiwasan na ay, men are really better than women or yung iba ding notion na women are better than men. So, bawal po yun. Huwag po nating ipa-feel sa or i-influence yung mga bata or learners sa mga bagay na yun. Okay? Article 23, mentally and physically challenged persons. When it comes to script writing and even presenting it on cam, yung number one comment, actually nahiya po kami kasi isa po yun sa naging mali namin when we were rushing our scripts. Nalagay po namin disabled person. So, bawal na bawal po yun kasi discrimination is still there and we're really highlighting or emphasizing na merong disability, kumbaga. So, instead of saying person with disability, we can say person with special needs or differently abled person. Kasi meron din siyang special na qualities na nasa kanya. Siya lang yung may ganon. Yung regular people, walang ganon. So, kasi yung iba sa kanila, if you notice, they're highly intelligent, highly intellectual. Yung itsura lang nila, parang minsan yung attention span, hindi ganon ka long or hindi masyado tumitingin sa atin yung iba, pero their intellect is really high compared to the regular folk. So, yun po, very important po yun. Huwag po natin silang explicitly sabihin na disabled, hindi po ganon. Bawal na bawal po yun on screen. Parang pinapaiyak nyo na po yung mga learners nyo and even the parents. Next, Article 27, vulgar, obscene, indecent language. Reiteration ng puto kanina sa social content guidance. Violence, sedition, rebellion, prohibited, name-calling, and personal insults. Let's say mag-guesting kayo, may guest. So yung guest nyo, let's say ako na lang, ako yung guest nyo sa episode. Tapos ang tagal na nating di nagkita. Out of the blue, bigla yung sinabi, oh, Teacher Flores, parang lumalaki tayo masyado these days. Parang nai-enjoy mo ata yung trabaho mo. So, it may seem like a good joke or parang katuwaan lang po. Magandang inside joke between you na friends na online tutor or teacher broadcaster. Okay lang po yun, wala po yung problema. But that would cause a little bit of parang concern na naman if it's recorded on screen. Una sa lahat, not all people readily accept such name calling na mataba, lumalaki, insults, hindi po lahat ganon. So, if yung isa sa learners, they identify themselves as one of the guests na parang na-name call ng ganun, di feeling nila parang sobrang ay nakakahiya pala talaga, ay okay, dapat pala in-emphasize yung body structure or bone structure. So ayun, so mas magiging conscious yung mga bata and they worry, it may be petty for some, pero excessive na yung pag-worry nila how they look, how they should appear, how they act in the society. So let's reduce the stress that those kids are getting or experiencing, kumbaga. So those are all for the social content guidelines. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, saglit lang. Workforce and workflow. I'm very happy that the first few speakers were able to mention them. Ang ganda po, medyo napahiya na po ako kasi sabi ko, explain ko ng todo to sa slide ko, pero they were able to do that. I'll just share what happens on our end. So, yung pinakauna po nun, mag-meeting po yung overall na nag-oversee kumbaga sa project, the supervising producers or program supervisors as how we call it. Sila po yung mga tao, yung mga PSDS po natin, sila po yung may karapatang magpa-meeting, may karapatan na magmando po sa mga shooters or talents or scriptwriter, even the EPs, SPs na, oy, kamusta na yung scripts? Na-notice ko, nakausap ko si schedule keeper, naka-schedule for airing pero wala pa kayong shoot na nagawa, wala pang live stream, ano na? So, supervising producer, siya talaga tumitingin sa big picture. Executive producer, on the other hand, is the second in command. So, eto mas immersive to na role kasi siya yung nangungulit sa mga teacher broadcasters or tutors na, uy, asa na yung script nyo? Malapit na yung airing nyo, dapat ganito na yung na shoot nyo. So, si EP or executive producer, pwede niyang kausapin si SP or segment producer na diretso or pwede din siyang dumiretso agad sa scriptwriter. So either. So yung very extensive yung reach say executive producer, supervising producer, hindi po yan nare-require na kailangang parating nagpa-follow up, yung kinakausap lang po niya executive producer. Executive producer, mas marami po yung kinakausap. Okay? Segment producer, on the other hand, is a more hands-on role din. Kasi sila po yung mga tao na tumutulong sa atin sa rehearsal. Sila din po yung taong nagsisenyas. Kasi pag teacher broadcaster kasi ang nangyayari, okay, cut, ulit natin, take 2. So sila po yung nagsasabi doon. Nakaupo lang po sila sa side. They give feedback kung okay or hindi yung shot. On the other hand, and by the way, si segment producer, hindi po yan yung nagve-video. Kasi ideally, si segment producer nakaupo, tumitingin po yan sa script na naka-print out. Meron po tayong director of photography, siya po yung nag-shoot sa lahat ng scenes. Yun po. Si segment producer, siya din po, or SP, siya din po yung nakikipag-usap sa mga illustrators, graphic artists, and even the post-prod team para i-follow up kung ano na pong nangyari so na-edit na video. Kaso, since we're aiming at online tutorial for this year, ang mangyayari po niyan, yung segment producer, pwede, yes, nasa shoot, nasa rehearsal, pero more on senyas yung gagawin niyan pag live stream na. Kasi wala nang chance na i-edit. Kung ano nang nasabi, live, yun na po yun. So, medyo nakaka-pressure po yun sa end ng segment producer. Scriptwriter naman, talent shooter, tulad po natin. So, dual role, as mentioned by the previous speaker po. So, tayo po yung nagsusulat, tayo din po nagsasalita. Baka sabihin po ng iba, nagtitipid kasi, kaya ganon. Partly yes, pero no, just kidding. Pag nasa industry po tayo, media industry, iba po yung nagsusulat, may scriptwriter. Tapos yung nagsasalita po, yung mga katulad nila Bernadette Sembrano, Paolo Bediones, tawag nito si Mel Tiangco, mga ganun po. Pero sa case po natin, kasi ito po yung nasusulat po natin, these are items or details or content that we are actually familiar of kasi tinuturo po natin. So it only makes sense if we're the one writing, we're also the one teaching on cam. So yun po yun. Next would be graphic artist or illustrator. Oh, one more thing pa pala. Paano kung yung nasulat ko pala na content, parehong-pareho lang naman, sasabihin ko on cam. Actually, you'd be surprised if you go through the rehearsals, off-cam rehearsals, or kung magre-recording kayo or live siya, masashock na lang kayo kasi kahit may teleprompter kayo or guide ng mga spells nyo, biglang magko-correct kayo, even if sa lesson proper pa yun. Kasi na-realize nyo, ay wait lang, mali ata yung nalagay kong concept. I might as well rephrase that when I speak. So, pwede po yun. Hindi ibig sabihin na nakaslagay sa script, 100% na-follow. Yung iba po niyan, 80 to 90% po na-follow. If sobrang nag-do away sila sa script, like around 50 or even less, or talagang ibang direction yung ginawa nila after creating the script nung nagla-live stream na or nagre-record, ibig sabihin po nun, hindi po maganda yung script na nagawa po natin. Kasi hindi siya pulido, hindi na nagamit. So, useless na po yun. So, let's do away with those type of efforts. So, no, wag ganun po, no? Graphic artist, illustrator. Meron po kami or gamit na gamit po sila sa post-prod pag teacher or TV broadcasting. Pag online streaming naman po or online tutorial, pwede po silang, pwede tayong manghingi ng tulong, tayong mga scriptwriter sa kanila. Let's say, gusto mo magpa-drawing ng ganitong image na magpa-pop pag nagdi-discuss ka na. Image pop-up siya. So, pwede nating ipagawa yun before streaming or before tayo mag-on cam para pag mag-on cam na, ready na siya. Ganun po pag online. Okay? So, pero kahit ganun po, meron po tayong very, paano ko ba i-term to? Very diligent folks who will do those for you. Pero kung marunong ka naman, pwede naman mag-dual role. Please also do not burden them na parang lahat na lang po kada slide po natin, lalagyan ng images, lalagyan ng graphics, yung palang pong in-between sequence po or in-between scenes. Meron pa po silang transition na gagawin. Sobrang dami po nilang gagawin. So, medyo parang let's be humane, kumbaga. Just enough punch para sa show natin. Para hindi din po tayo naka-bombard ng todo sa mga taong yun. Kasi madali lang po siyang tingnan, mahirap po siyang gawin. Okay? Yan po yung kailangan po nating i-bear in mind parati. Next, technical team. There are the ones who are there with you. Kasama na po yun yung director of photography. Actually, kasama na din po yung set director, yung nag-check na okay ba yung setup ng ano set natin ngayon or si set director, to be exact, apart sa piniprepare niya lahat sa set, pwede din po siyang maghanap ng lugar. Let's say, plano nyo, sige, mag-online tutorial kami, gusto kong i-feature yung different cultures from the region. I'll start with Region 3, pero pupunta ako outside the province or outside the city. So, off-site location siya pag nag-shoot. Yung naghahanap po ng lugar na yun, yung main person pong gagawa na yung set director, kaya po niyang gawin yun. And of course, with approval of segment producer and executive producer po. So, pero masanay na po tayo ha, pag EP, executive producer, pag SP, segment producer. Yung parati nating nakakasama, si SP. So, ayun po. Next, ito, very important po to, Diyos ko. Quality Assurance Specialist or the QA Officer. So, ito po yung taong hindi lang po developmental editing yung titingnan, kung paano yung flow or compass, kasi partner sila parati ni SP sa pag-check sa script mo. These guys are the ones who are tagged as QA specialists. Ang ginagawa po nila, very ano po yan, parang critical po yung role nila kasi sila po yung ano ko ba sabihin to? Sila po yung tumitingin sa content and language po. So, perfect example po nun ng QA specialist. Sige, kahit di pa po siya part, para makita nyo po, ma-picture out nyo. Sana nakikita nyo pa po yung screen ko. I think you can. Sorry for that. I have here sample scripts. Naka-trip na to. Let's try this one. Let's have one that is done by a colleague then. So here, kanina naka-portrait po siya, ngayon naka-landscape na po siya. So parang, ay, wala naman. Anong nangyayari sa space na to? So this space on the rightmost part is actually the space for the QA specialist. Like for instance, eto, can we rephrase this? So that is what a paragraph is. Maximize ko ha. So yun, nagko-comment siya. Let's change this to remember. Yun. What else? I think that we can come up with a better sentence in this one. What about? So nagbibigay din po sila ng suggested rephrasing. So apart from the language aspect, pati content po tinitingnan nila. Sinasabi nga nila parang ang sagwa naman ng pagkalagay nito. So if in any case medyo na-offend po tayo sa QA specialist natin or merong mga items na parang hindi naman ako naniniwala, di naman nag-a-apply, parang hindi, tinuturo ko yung subject, bakit pinapangunahan ako? Actually, instead of using your feelings or exerting so much effort to and anger towards others, pwede po nating kausapin si QA specialist. Kaya po, mabaya sa file naming convention, makita nyo na hindi lang po gawa script, send kay QA, tapos shoot na. Hindi po ganun. So, there are instances where we create the script for the first time, hindi po yan todo polished. Feeling mo lang polished, may makikita pa rin po yan. Kahit konting detail. Then, babalik sa'yo, edit mo, babalik mo na naman, kung may correction, edit mo na naman, babalik sa'yo. Kaso, if yung correction very minor, let's say, isang sentence kailangan lang i-rephrase. Ang ginagawa ni QA specialist, siya na yung nagko-correct. Pero ilalagay niya, final, tapos yung quarter, episode, pangalan ng tutor, sino yung EP niya, tapos dash, corrected version. Yung lalagay niya. Okay? Set director, na-mention ko na to kanina. Schedule keeper, okay, meron po tayo niyan. Siya po yung nag-oversee po sa lahat. Kaso, there are also times na yung SP or supervising producer at the same time yung EP, sila na din yung naging schedule keeper. Pero if we have an independent folk to do that in our division, okay lang po. At least po, hindi po parang evenly distributed po yung roles. Okay, so that's all for the workflow. Ganun po nangyayari. No? Ganun po talaga yung nangyari. And next would be this one. Okay. We are having the pre-production stage. People would say when we do TV lessons or radio lessons, basta magsalita ka, okay lang. The truth is, there are a lot of things to prepare, hindi lang po script. People will say, naku, script lang, sapat na. Ganon sila. Pero yung totoo po nun, hindi po. I'd like to share two important documents that I think would help us visualize which episodes are for airing and which portions of your lesson will be indicated in your script. So let's see what are these two documents. These two documents are our episode guide and our sequence treatment. Sino po yung gagawa ng dalawang yan? Tayo po. Tayo po. So episode guide, this actually, like I've said, gives the order or sequence of episodes for airing. Nakalagay po dyan, episode number, sino po yung tutor or yung scriptwriter, sino po yung EP nyo, minsan tinatanggal na yung EP, minsan nilalagay, depende po yan sa agreement po ng EP nyo. And then at the same time, we actually include the module number, lalo na pag may last tayo, yung last and yung mga module natin, i-indicate natin yan. Yung milk na fino-focus sa episode na yon. And pang ilang week siya na episode na i-air. So yun po yun. Let's see how it looks like. Sana po makikita. Baka ma-shock kayo ba't yumuyuko ako. Check ko po. Baka meron lang po mga konting comments or ano. Okay. So here, this is how it looks like. Sana po nakikita natin. Ayan. So like I've said kanina, very important components. Ito pinakauna po natin gagawin. Kasi po, let's say plano po or magsabihin ng EP po natin na we will have 12 episodes for the next 12 weeks or will only have 8 episodes for the quarter. So lahat to makikita dito. Isang page lang po yan per quarter. Kung for the entire school year, more or less 2 to 4 pages. Kasi sa senior high, for instance, kasi semestral po kami, 2 lang po na set na ng mga episodes. So si first or third quarter, isang set. Si second at fourth quarter, isang set po yan. For secondary and elementary naman po, junior high school and elementary, 4 po yun. So si Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So 4 po na pages. So ito quarter, indicate po natin yung quarter. Sino po yung teacher, tutor, or broadcaster? Kami po kasi 2 po kami. Meron na pong nag-i-exist na teacher broadcaster. Tas ako po yung dinagdag para maka-banter ko siya or makasama sa isang episode. So, halos lahat po ng second or fourth quarter, lahat na po kami magkasama ng kaming 2. Episodes, total weeks na i-air po yung episode. Ito na po yung sinasabi ko. Module number, milk. So, ito yung mga milk. Week number. So, you might ask, Ma'am Floy, paano kung sobrang haba ng kwento-kwento lang daw ako, sabi ng isang fan ko. My God, ganun talaga. When we discuss, hindi po dapat sobrang serious para po hindi po kayo magutom pag titingnan po natin yung isa't isa. Char. So, eto. So, when we have a week number, let's say the topic on, ito yung pinaka-favorite kong topic, eto. Formulating evaluative statements about a text read. So we're discussing assertions of claims of the author, our personal assertions or evaluative statement, and even our counterclaims. Kasi text-heavy po to na topic. Kung i-feature lang po natin to sa isang episode, mahihirapan po or parang hingal na hingal po tayo gumawa ng script and is-squeeze po lahat. And hingal na hingal din po yung audience po natin. Yung parang, oh my God, info overload. Hindi ko po kaya yon kung ako yung student. And if ako din po yung writer, nasa-sacrifice po yung quality ng script, quality ng lesson, quality ng tutorial. So that's why, with the permission of our EP talaga. Kasi kahit si SP okay sa kanya, pero si EP ayaw, ay nako, good luck sa'yo. So with the approval of the EP, pwede po nating yung isang lesson na yun, pwedeng i-divide into 2 episodes. So, continued episode po siya. Okay? So, yun. Next, determine siya. So, yun po. So, week number, episode number. Ganun po kasimple si episode guide. Kaso po, dapat lang po, maganda po yung sense of direction at familiar po tayo sa mga lessons at paano natin i-divide. Okay? Pero kung kaya naman pong isang episode, isang lesson, go for it. Pero pag mahaba po siya or parang may connected, parang mas maganda kung connected episodes po siya, connecting episodes, okay po, walang problema. Next, sequence treatment. Ito po, actually po, I'll be honest, hindi po to uniform across all teacher broadcasters. Pero, and even tutors. Sa totoo lang po, when I'm doing my scripts, kasi medyo maselan po yung program supervisor namin at EP. Ayaw po nilang gumawa kami ng script kung wala to. And of course, syempre parang gusto natin effort tayo na mag-plan or mag-map out ng paano yung flow ng discussion or ng lesson. Ang naging tendency po, pag nag-script writing po tayo, mas mabilis na lang po. Wala po tayong magiging issue. Kasi alam na natin yung flow ng episode, ng lesson. Unlike those who go through a TV broadcast or live online tutorial, pag wala po silang sequence treatment, mahihirapan po silang may parang, wait, ano yung next? Kahit nasa PowerPoint pa yun. Paano kung nakalimutan niyo yung transition in between, like, etong activity na to or parang spell na to kailangan kong sabihin before yung next. So, hindi tayo guided. So, our sequence treatment provides actually, tingnan natin, okay, an outline on the sequence or flow of the episode or the broadcast or online tutorial. And the beauty of it is we don't have to compress everything na parang gumawa tayo ng script. We exclude dialogues or spells of the tutor. we exclude VOs or voiceovers. We also exclude camera directions or technical directions. Tanggal po yun, or musical scoring even. Okay, dagdag natin yan pang fourth. Tanggal po yun, wala po yun sa sequence treatment. Because again, it's just an overview of the episode. So this is how it looks like. Ay nako, 11:51 na. My gosh, pagpasensyaan niyo na po ha. Gutom-gutom muna tayo ngayon. So eto po siya. If you notice, it only is composed of 2 pages. Pwede nga ding 1 page lang po to, walang problema. So sequence treatment for the subject, quarter, episode number, and then the topic itself. Hindi na necessarily milk. Pero if yung EP natin or SP, gusto nila na yung milk pa rin ilagay natin, sundin po natin sila. Walang problema. Okay? So I divided our lesson into few parts. I think this is around 8 parts. Pero yung 8 parts na to, hindi po ibig sabihin na 8 sequence. Meron pong parts nito na yung sequence niya or yung pagkahati-hati sa script or scenes, pwedeng sa isang part na to, dalawa or tatlong sequence na involved. As for this, let's say hypertext intro. So I'm describing the scene, sino yung involved. There's a boomer and a Gen Z folk who's debating on what are better ways or techniques to read a text. So eventually, justified nila parang hindi naman sobrang academic debate, kumbaga. Introduces the concept, tapos after na-introduce ni Gen Z yung concept niya, si boomer naman yung mag-introduce. So ang maganda po dito, kahit po feeling nyo parang ninarrate na niya lahat, tapos OBB or opening billboard, yun na yun, yung nasa script. Actually, no. Sa part po na to, ang nangyari po dyan, we actually had a rap. Diyos ko, nakakahiya po. Episode 1 ko po yun. Kung makita nyo na po yun, wala na po akong mukhang ipapakita po sa inyo. So we had to rap at the beginning, yung parang unang dumating si Gen Z, tapos sinasabi niya parang, hello, my name is Kit. Tapos, it would surely be a hit. So, ini-introduce na niya yung hypertext gamit yung kanta. Tapos, after niya, bigla akong pumasok, feel ko po yung pagsasayaw po doon. Sinasabi ko, Siyempre, ganun lang, teaser lang po yun. So, when I had that part, hindi po sinasabing nag-rap, hindi ko necessarily sinabing rap dito, pero I told, nakalagay na sa sequence treatment namin na we're trying to compare the ways of reading a text. Kung gusto mo talagang ilagay yung word na rap dyan, wala pong problema. Second, discussion proper or lesson or segment proper. So, eto na po, yung meaning, origin, fun facts about the concept, the WIFM or what's in it for me portion, bakit relevant po na gamitin po yung concept sa pagbabasa, and then application po. So, pwedeng magbigay ng scenario, pwede din pong magtanong po yung teacher, pwede din pong konting evaluation. So, ayan, magka-continue yan sa assessment. So, yung assessment, I don't have to mention all the 3 objective type questions. In-identify ko lang na merong ganon na tanungan na mangyayari sa episode. Sunod naman, take the floor, ako na po to. So, feeling guru na ako talaga niyan. Guro naman talaga tayo. So, I'm already introducing the concept that's assigned to me. So, again, the different areas na or the subtopics under my topic, and then another assessment, okay, and then conclusion. So, closing spills and the closing billboard. So, ganun po yung sequence treatment. Ang magsasabi po sa atin na, ma'am, pwede namang DLL. Tanong ko sa inyo. Tanong ko lang naman. Okay? Kung DLL versus this, anong mas madaling gawin? Siyempre, bias ako. Ito talaga. Kasi love naman po namin nila Ma'am Ses, nila Sir Art po yung paggawa ng DLL. Pero if you're producing periodic scripts, weekly na scripts, importante po na mabilis po yung pace. Hindi na po natin kailangang ilagay yung parang per portion na very detailed or pwedeng keywords. Ito talaga, may direction, may sense of direction. Now, how do we apply that in scripts? Okay? Makita ko sa inyo. Hindi ako prepared, pero sige. Ito siya. This is a sample script. It's actually the format that we're using. So the subject that I'm handling is reading and writing skills, episode number. Let's say, base dito, it's episode 1. Kaso ngayon, kinount na namin siya from first quarter to second quarter or third quarter to fourth. Nagiging episode 11 na yung episode 1 namin ng second quarter. So yung topic niya is hypertext and intertext. Yung topic. Siyempre, prepared na to. Yung mga ganitong bagay, if you notice, fill out na lang po tayo. Huwag po tayong mag-effort na i-type kada gawa ng script. Nakakapagod po yun. So, the audio, video, others, if you notice kanina sa pinakita kong pahapyaw na script, yung may mga comment ni QA, yung script po na yon nauna po sa video over audio. Depende po yan sa preference nyo and instruction or mandate ni EP. Pero mostly po, mas naging effective na una si audio kaysa sa video. Kasi po, pag sa video nasa left side nyo pala, left side, ang nangyayari po, masyado pong nakaka-pressure na iniisip na po natin anong dapat mag-appear sa screen before po tayo magsusulat ng linya or spells. So ginagawa po namin, we actually write the spells here and the things that will appear on cam. Okay, for example, gamitin na lang natin to. Hypertext introduction. So, copy ko lang tong opening scene, ha? So, okay, hold on. Please without formatting. So, two people from different generations compare their ways on narrate ko, di ba? Opening scene. Wait. Sabihin ko na teacher, Florence, and Kit on cam. Kasi nasa camera sila. Scene. They act as Boomer and Gen Z, proving that intertext is better than hypertext or vice versa. Ganun lang po, ganun kasimple. Hindi po natin kailangang isulat lahat ng nilagay natin sa sequence treatment. Vice versa, through a wrap. Ganun lang po yun. Okay? Pero sa case po natin, nauna po kasi yung teacher na to, copy ko lang po, na nag-appear sa screen. So, teacher Kit on cam. Nung dumating na ako, syempre, teacher Florence on cam. Pag dumating ako, pinaalis mo yung isang teacher broadcaster shooter, pwede nating ilagay yung pangalan niya off cam. Okay? Pwede po yun. Now, when we talk about the audio part, lagay po tayo ng sequence parate. So, kung mag-iiba tayo ng row, yung sequence 2 na to, hit next tab lang po, sequence 3, and on. Para di po mahirapan si editor, or kahit walang editor po tayo, walang post-prod na masela na mangyayari. We wanted to label who is or are the people appearing in the sequence. So for sequence 1, dalawa po kami. Lagay ko po, Kit and Florence. Or pwedeng kung dalawa lang kami, enter. Kasi parati naman kami yung nag-appear. By banter, it means dalawa po kayo. Okay? Now, let's say, hindi lang po kaming dalawa. Let's say, teachers Kit and Florence plus the guest. Or kung may pangalan si guest, pwede ilagay natin yan. Pwede na teacher Kit, teacher Florence, depende po yan. Depende po yan sa gusto nyo. Okay, feel na. Okay, next, I'll begin with Kit. So, naka-all caps po yan, naka-bold. Hey, my name is Kit. This is another tune that will surely be a hit. So, yun. So, yun yung linya niya. Tapos bigla mag-appear ko, teacher Florence on cam. Siyempre, tapat natin yan. Para kung anong mangyayari sa video, nakatapat siya sa spell niya. Florence. My name is Floyd. So, ellipsis ko na lang kasi madami pa po akong sinabi doon. So, ganun po kasimple gumawa. Now, Miss Floyd, para sa akin, pag alam ko na yung direction, di ko na kailangan sa sequence treatment. Actually, pwede natin po yung on hand sa naggagawa ka type ka script, sa kabilang tab or window or nakaprint ba siya, you always can go back. Now, if you're the type who's easily distracted pag mag-aano ng mga tabs para sa'yo, nakakahilo. So, we can always copy parts. Let's say, eto, sequence 2. Eto po lahat sa sequence 2 ko. Pinapi ko. Ito po, draft lang po to, no? Mag-change pa po yan lahat sa video. Kaso na-realize ko, ay, pag sequence 2, kasi usually, ano lang yan, parang hindi naman dapat sobrang haba. Gusto ko meaning, origin, and fun facts lang. Yung WFM, gusto ko i-separate siya. Pwede po natin yung ilagay sa ibang sequence. Yung part na yun ng sequence treatment. Guide lang po yan. Ito po yung mga quick tips na pwedeng gawin para mas mapabilis po yung trabaho. And we can do that until the very end. Kayang-kaya po yan gawin. So, I hope we learned so much for sequence treatment and syempre, yung episode guide. Pero di pa po nagtatapos. Feeling nyo lang po. Ay, my gosh, gutom, no? Anyway, okay lang po yan. Side comment ko lang po yan. Don't mind. Script writing rule of thumb in terms of format. We talk about pagination and length. So ito po, when you talk about pagination, we're actually pertaining to the number of pages. Depende po yan. Pwede lang pong mas ganda po, if you notice kanina, nasa top right most part yung page number. Ang gusto nila malinis, 1, tapos ganun. Hindi na nila nilalagyan ng 1 of total number of pages, say 1 of 19. Kasi alam naman nila na 19 pages is the minimum. Okay? Pero syempre, per page ng script, roughly 1 minute of screen time na po yun. Ma'am Cess mentioned a while back na pwedeng umabot ng 2 minutes. She's true, or that's correct, kasi, or that line of verse is correct, kasi meron po pong maraming pakulo, transitions, effects that would happen in a script, lalo na sa isang page. So, pwede pong mag-extend sa 1 minute. Pero 2 is the max. Going beyond that, masyado na pong mabagal yung pace ng lines, fills, and yung video itself. Okay? Next, DepEd episode, minimum 20 minutes. Maximum 25. Beyond that, bawal na po yun sa amin. Tigok na po kami ng editors namin. However, online tutorials for our tutors sa division, patulad po ng reflective of the itulay that we see in the central office, it's roughly 50 minutes to an hour. Merong iba pa nga, nag 1 hour and 10 minutes. I will not cover that much on online tutorial because we have a speaker who will be discussing that in an in-depth manner. Sa akin lang yung, inibigyan ko lang kayo ng prescribed running time na na-observe namin at kinagawa po namin. Okay? Next would be, syempre kung alam na natin yung prescribed running time, alam na din natin ilan yung pages. So, if balikan po natin, sorry, next slide. 20 minutes po yan. Yung run time, yung minimum po niyan, more or less 19 pages. Pero, mas umiikli po yung pages. Minsan pwede yung 15 or 16 pag elementary po na level. Kasi ang dami pong mga pakulo at mga transitions in between sequence or even transitions within the sequence. Madami po silang pa-games, madami po silang pa-skit. So, 20 pages for an elementary episode actually is, anticipate mo na sobrang haba na po nun. Okay, pwede na po yung umabot ng 45 minutes kung masyadong madami yung ginawa. Pwede ding 30 to 45. Ganun po. Sa case po namin, when we do TV broadcasting, 19 pages minimum pag may mga pakulo or may kakaibang treatment sa script. Pero if normal lang po na discussion sa episode, where we can have until 23 or 24. Medyo mabilis naman po kami magsalita. Pero syempre, when you are already doing it live or when you're recording, pagsasabihan din po tayo ng SPs or segment producer natin na parang, oy, sobra na yung pace mo, hindi na nakakaintindi yung audience mo. So there's always someone to prompt you that you're having a different direction in terms of pacing. Okay? Next would be font. And one more thing. So, pinaka-importante. Knowing the number of pages, the length or the running time of our episodes, whether it's recorded or done online or live rather, we always, at least po, no, sana maging standard po natin yan. At least 5 days before airing, dapat naka-QA na po yan na with final revisions. I believe in the meeting, mabibigyan po tayo ng ilang weeks or I guess until a month. Please correct me later po. I'm sure our organizers will and your program supervisors will clarify or verify the timeline para mag-prepare po sa script. So, ako po sa inyo, pag nakastart na po kayo, tuloy-tuloy nyo po, huwag po tayong tamarin. Kasi when, meron lang for instance, napagod ka sa week na yun na nag-shoot, tapos sabi nga, sige, mamaya na lang, masyashock ka na lang po, ang bilis na ng oras, dapat naka-QA na nakashoot at nakasalang ka na. So, ngarag po. So, we've experienced that as well kasi may binigay na timeline. Tapos biglang, kailangan na nating kailangan na nating i-meet yung deadline. Kailangan na for airing. Kailangan na mabilis yung pag-edit. So, kahit hindi po kami tapos sa script, we had to rush them. So, to avoid those instances or ma-minimize man yung ganong cases or encounters, might as well do things early on. Okay? Early on, kumbaga. Font style and size. So, any sans serif typeface or anything na very clear po yung font, Arial times New Roman. Dati, mahilig pa ata ng career. Tama ba yung term ko? My God, mali yung pagka-pronounce ko. Career font, yung parang pang typewriter. So, unang panahon, very uso yan. And even in place. Pero, since TV broadcast po yan at whatever we write on paper will be flashed sa teleprompter or sa computer na binabasa po natin. So, let's go for the regular fonts na naintindihan. Very comprehensible sa audience natin. Next would be, size 12 po yun, 2-column script. Napakita ko na po yun, audio-video format. And ito po yung in as much as we wanted to master everything, ang galing-galing po ng dalawang speakers before me. They were able to introduce and reiterate the musical scoring and technical directions, even camera angles. But given the timeline that we have in preparing our scripts, we are directors dun sa field kung kailan kami nag-shoot, kumbaga. They always encourage us to do away with minimize lang. Very subtle musical scoring na codes and technical directions. Although technical directions, very helpful yan pag mag-exit entrance. Pero kung discussion lang siya between sequence, saktayo ka lang po niyan. Hindi ka naman po aalis sa cam, hindi ka naman po mag-roll over the floor like your favorite pet. Hindi po ganun. So, minimize lang po yung mga ganun na instances. Kasi we also wanted to consider na you're still familiarizing, we're still learning, we're still new. So, keep it to a minimum. Kung gusto nyo na, gusto ko po mag-excel ng todo, gusto ko malagay na lahat ng technical direction and musical scoring, pwede naman po tayong magtanong. Pero remember, hindi po tayo yung may sole authority to indicate and approve the shots. Yun lang yung naging medyo masakit. Kasi kahit may na-envision tayo na etong shot na to, ganito na angle, ganyan. Pero pag nakita ni director of photography and the segment producer na hindi nag-work on cam, matatanggal yun, nilagay mo. So para mas practical po at hindi po masayang todo yung effort natin, we can actually write the script and then work with them kung anong okay, or better yet, kung nandyan na po kayo sa set, nagre-rehearsal na po kayo or live pwedeng, kung rehearsal, this is applicable. Pwedeng sinabi mo yung sequence, nakita mo sa teleprompter, or let's say in between sequence or breaks, hawak mo yung script mo. Nakalagay dyan na dapat naka-close up and all. Tapos sabi niya, hindi man bagay close up. On the spot ka na mag-edit. Pero you don't have to do that. Your segment producers are the ones facilitating those acts or those things. So yung focus mo lang talaga, paggawa ng content or script, paggawa ng PowerPoint, if yun po yung i-require po sa future program po natin. And of course, yung episode guide na one time lang po natin i-release. And then, one time ibibigay, and then your sequence treatment per episode. So, ayun. Visual techniques and transitions are definitely welcome. Images and on. Next, dami, no? Line spacing, margins, and capitalization. Sa unang panahon po, 2.0 or double spacing or double spaced items are very okay. Kung thesis pa nga, very applicable yan dati kasi pag printed, galing typewriter, yung corrections on top. Pero ngayon po, we can adapt 1.0 kasi digitally na po natin ginagawa. So, when our QA specialist will proofread your work, yung comments nila, instead of placing them on top, sa gilid na lang po yan. Insert, tapos comment. Kung feeling nyo parang, wait lang, parang na-delete ko accidentally yung parang, you can always track changes. So, tuturuan po namin kayo ng offline kung paano gawin. Next would be uppercase in bold font. If you notice, exit po ako saglit pasensya po. If you notice, eto, all caps, naka-bold. Consider nyo na lang din po na that's a reminder na we're not writing for print media. We're actually writing for TV. So, dapat, pag nagbabasa tayo sa teleprompter or nakaharap tayo sa screen, nakikita po natin lahat ng words. Imagine using a sentence cap, yung ganito, sentence cap, or small caps po lahat. Ang sakit po nun sa mata. Hirap na hirap po talaga tayo. Okay? So, even if i-maximize po natin yung font camo or parang view sa teleprompter, sakit pa rin po yun sa mata, lalo na pag mabilis yung pace at hindi nakokontrol ng manually yung yung parang may mga kasi specific apps na hirap i-control, pero mostly ngayon hindi na. Ginagawa nga namin yung isa sa mga technical team ang ginagawa yung teleprompter. Talagang nagsumasabay sila sa amin pag nagsasalita. Pag feeling nila medyo nahuli kami, ibabalik nila yung sa teleprompter. So there are really kind technical team members who can do that for you. Pero kung medyo maselan or strict yung na gusto on the dot, dapat nasunod mo lahat. So we have to be very wary of the use of yung capitalization. Yun. On the other hand, sa video, pwede po tayong gumamit ng sentence cap. So, big letter sa unahan, the rest small cap. Kasi nagde-describe po tayo, hindi naman po to nakikita on screen. Para lang po to kay segment producer, para din sa'yo, para guided ka kung anong gagawin. Pero, syempre, yung guidance na yon, dapat familiar ka na lahat na nangyayari sa video. Kasi makikita mo na lang, pag nag-tutorial ka, eto na lang. Okay? So, if you plan on having the script. Para din po to sa editor, very important po yan. Ano ba? What else? Let's see. Ay, nag-skip ako. Okay. And of course, 1 inch for all sides. Very important. Okay. Next, daming next, no? Bold and underlining. So if we wanted to point out a specific camera move or reference, referencing the camera in action, we can always do turn or set our font to bold type and underline it. But do this sparingly. Huwag po yung sobrang OA na kada sequence po, dapat may naka-underline at bold. Diyos ko, makakaiyak po yun at madugo po yun sa mata. We don't want those. Okay? So, here's an example. The man turns to look at the camera and grins. So, instead of highlighting the action, camera talaga, at the camera. So, yung direction. Teacher Carlene tilts up, tinataas, the container to see the particles that reside underneath. Yan. Ida walks off screen to follow the scientist. So, if you notice, ang dali lang talaga niyang gawin. Mas madali siyang makita sa editing, madaling i-direct. Pero, ito pong items na bold and underlining is actually optional. If you work closely with your SP and your editors, mas madali na lang po. Kahit wala na po yung bold and underlining, kaya po nilang tingnan. Lalo na pag magaling, highest level na po sila yung experience, kahit wala na po yung bold and underlining, kaya po nila. But if there's also still starting like you, malaking tulong po tong pointer na to. Next! Okay, file naming convention. Ito na yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Okay? So, ito po yung pinaka-template. So, when we name the files or the scripts that we have, quarter number _ QA, kasi ipapa-QA nyo, episode number, the subject, the name of the tutor or teacher broadcaster, first name lang po, and then the first name of your EP. Here is an example. Q4 underscore QA underscore episode 1, EP lang po, small, big P, big E, small P, 1, underscore math 4, underscore Warley, naka all caps po yung name, underscore Adrian, kasi siya po yung EP ni Warley. Sample po yun. So, ayun po yung file naming convention. Now, like I've said in the process, it goes back and forth from you to QA officer or specialist, tas balik na naman sa'yo, nag-iba na din po yung file naming convention para di magkalituhan. So here's another example. Ito naman galing kay QA. So si QA, nilalagyan na niya ng dash the revised version. Pag galing naman na sa'yo, ibabalik mo kay QA, tatanggalin mo yung the revised version niya dyan, lalagay mo na lang revised QA, tapos yan. Tapos kung final, merong pang konting edit pa na kailangan, si QA lalagyan niya ng final, tapos corrected version. Kasi let's say, yung konting yun, yung sinabi ko sa inyong one sentence or a word or a phrase, na siya na mismo nag-correct, di na niya pinakorrect sa'yo, okay na siya for airing. Pero, kung wala talaga siyang correction, perfect, flawless yung script, eto na po yung nakikita nating file name. Final, ganyan. Yung iba, pinapalagyan na nilang for shoot. Yung iba naman, pag post-prod na, final script for editors. Don't worry, we'll give you a copy of our presentation para hindi po kayo magkalituhan. Guided tayo. Next, eto, gustong-gusto ko po to. My dear friend, Ma'am Ces, was able to show the broadcast flow overview. Like she said, I'd like to reiterate, these are just ideal or parang advice lang po yun to na airtime, yung mga running time and then parts. Our good friend na sikat na freelance writer po sa GMA, Mr. Wilson Araya, he's actually one of the segment producers then for senior high school DepEd TV. The simplest way to write for broadcasting or even tutorial videos is this. If you already have the sequence treatment in mind, actually etong steps na to, pwede po natin itong ilagay na atake sa sequence treatment. If you are not required to produce one, basta may flow ka na to, kayang-kaya. First, ayaw gumana. Pinapastop na ata ako. So, intro. So, sa intro natin, ang nangyayari dyan, syempre yung opening billboard, yung T-card. Sa amin kasi pag T-card, yung parang lumalabas sa DepEd TV na parang may libro tapos yung pangalan ng subject. Teng, 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 teng. Tapos yun yung OBB. Tapos yung T-card, libro, reading and writing. Tapos biglang yung parang pop-up na galing sa region 3. Ganon. Tapos opening or intro spells. Okay? So, hello everyone. This is Teacher Florence. Welcome to another episode of Reading and Writing. So, yun yung pinaka-common na opening spells. Advice, if we're doing the online tutorials na, let's be very, parang branding na po yan, part ng branding. Kung pwede, at hindi ka rin mahirapan, always go for spells that you will be using, yung sa opening at closing, kung pwede, pareho po siya sa first episode hanggang sa huli, iniiba nyo na lang po yung pag-mention ng topic para po mas maalala kayo ng mga bata at kayo din po mismo, hindi din po kayo mahirapan na magsabi sa spell. Okay? Pero kung feeling nyo, konting variation pwede. Let's say ngayon, yung topic ko ngayon, it's on writing sa year level. So pwede mong, hello, eto si favorite to ni Ma'am Carlene, iniiba-iba niya yung sabi niya sa audience. Hello, my dear writers, storytellers. Tapos the next day, science na naman siya. Hello, my dear young scientist. Yun. So pwede po yun. Pero syempre, still introduce your name, what is the subject, and then what is the lesson for the day. Apart from the lesson of the day sa intro, syempre, kailangan po natin previous or the recap of the previous lesson. It can be in two forms. Pwedeng evaluation type. If na-notice nyo sa itulay, meron po silang pa multiple choice na parang mga 2, 3, max 5 ng questions na nag-gauge kung anong na-learn ng mga bata sa previous lesson. Pero pwede din po itong narrative form. Very effective po yung narrative pag matatanda na po yung estudyante natin, high school. kahit isa, dalawang linya lang po nagsabi na, oh, so last week, we are able to discuss, or last week, we discussed the different components of an email. This week, so yun, so isang linya lang yun. Hindi kailangang mag-Q&A ka para lang to mention or recap the previous lesson. So, pag eval type, very fitting at suitable for LM. Pag narrative type, for higher years. Okay? Tapos ano pa ba? Motivation of the new lesson. Pwedeng sabihin agad nga, our lesson today is, and here are the things that are expected from us, or here are our objectives, or goals of the episode. Pwedeng ganon, naka-checklist form, or pwedeng before doon, meron kang konting paskit or konting mga images or videos na ipapakita. Tapos may tanong ka, tapos pag sasagot yung mga estudyante mo, mag-engage online, doon mo na i-introduce na, okay, good. And since you answered that, I guess all of you already has a guess on what our topic is. So, sabihin mo na yung topic, tas objectives. Let your objectives be clear. Kahit 2, 3, would do. Don't extend beyond 3. Nakaka-bombard na po yun sa mga bata. What's next? Oh, segment proper or the lesson proper. Nagsimula na po yun. This is what I like about Ma'am Cara David when she had a seminar with us. Segment proper po or lesson proper, always make sure that we have bite size of information or pieces of information featured in your script, in your lesson. So, hindi po ibig sabihin na yung topic po natin on, let's say, elements of a story, for example. Hindi po ibig sabihin na elements of a story, segment proper or lesson proper na. Sabihin mo na yung definition ng story, literary text, ano yung parts, ano yung definition nila lahat, tapos example ng lahat, tapos yung pinakahuli na evaluation. No. We actually divide them. If you notice from numbers 2 to 7, we're actually having divisions. So first chunk of information of the lesson, let's say you go with definition, tapos kinds, uses or function, tapos quick evaluation. Pwede isang tanong, 2 tanong, pero wag na pong beyond that para na po tayong naglolokohan po nun. Masyado nang ginawa nating talk show po yung ano natin. So just enough, just ample, para lang to gauge na, the students are still with me. Kahit 1 hour po yung online tutorial ko, kaya po pa nilang makipag-engage sa akin kasi hindi pa po ganun kagrabe yung na-receive nila na info. Hinay-hinay po talaga. Pag tapos na po tayo sa quick evaluation, pwedeng MC type or multiple choice type, isang tanong lang. Pwede ding rhetorical question lang, walang problema po yun. Second chunk of the lesson. Tapos quick evaluation na naman, tapos third chunk. Tapos final checkpoint. Kasi ang ginagawa namin, for example, now that we are familiar with resume writing, let's check how well you've learned the lesson and have that quick checkpoint. So, yun. Or minsan, checkpoint. Ganun lang, magsabay kami. So, makikita natin yung proper transition from the lesson to the evaluation part or checkpoint. Kumbaga. Pero you may use other terms, no? Wag lang gamitin yung term na assessment time. Oh my God. Kung ako estudyante, wow, punishment po yun yung effect sa episode. Go for lighter terms na maingganyo pa rin sila kahit evaluation siya. Okay? Check for understanding time or pwedeng let's gear up. Ganun, madaming ways to say it. And finally, our recap or summary. So, para din po yung writing, kung may thesis statement po tayo, sinasabi po natin yung main topic at yung whole claim mo sa buong paper, sa intro, last sentence of your intro, and then sa last part, i-reiterate natin yung thesis statement, parang ganun din po yan pag gumagawa ng script. Sinasabi po natin ulit, ano po yung discussion, ano po yung mga natutunan natin, pero hindi po lahat ha, huwag po yung tipong enumerate na lahat na lang din ang discuss, sinabi nyo. No, a line, 2 lines, 3 lines would do. Okay? And then, if you wanted to go the extra mile and integrate values in the lesson, very well and good. Pwedeng so sa episode po na to, natutunan po natin kung paano gumawa ng isang resume. Pero ating tandaan na kahit po tayo ay, yaks, parang di bagay sa akin, Filipino, no? Sorry, English teacher po ako. So now that we understand the parts and how to deal with or how to produce a resume, we hope that you have learned how to be patient in the entire process. Para mga ganun, may ilalagay tayong values. Isa, dalawa, i-feature, okay na. Okay, so, and finally, our conclusion, part na po yun, conclusion ng, na-fuse ko na pala yung 8 at 9. A recap, summary, and conclusion with the values, and maybe kung connecting episode siya, sabihin natin na tune in to the continued episode of application for college admissions. Tapos pwedeng sabihin yon or pwede ding sabihin na sa susunod na episode, ang gagawin po, i-anticipate po natin yung pagiging ganito, ganyan, or yung pagsasaka, parang ganun, sabihin mo na in advance, pwede po yun sa conclusion. Pero pag gusto nyo ng compelling effect sa sunod na episode at masithrill sila kasi di pa nila alam, pwedeng di po natin muna introduce yung next lesson. And then, of course, yung usual na CBB or closing billboard, pero spells muna before that. So, this is Teacher Kit. I'm Teacher Florence, reminding you to keep reading for a reader is a leader and keep writing so you can change the world. So, this is parang we're very happy that you're here with our episode. Tune in to the next one. Only here in Reading and Writing. Tapos after the closing spell, CBB na, closing billboard. Lahat ng mga effect na nag-conclude ka mo. Okay? Wow! Script writing structure. Dami nito, no? Share ko lahat para po sobrang successful po yung program ng division natin. Be brief and direct. 20 words or less. Always limit yourself to one idea or one sentence, one idea. Ganun po yan. Refrain from giving too much information like what I'm doing right now. Pasensya na. Kailangan kasi sa roles natin, future roles. Pero pag nasa mga online tutorial na po tayo, live stream, less is more. Highlight what's important. Only quote things that can be helpful. Baka naman sobrang rumami na yung trivia natin regarding the topic, nawawala na po tayo sa direction. Instead of going through the examples, the explanation, the application of the lesson, puro na lang tayo trivia. So, iwasan po natin yung ganon. And next would be using contractions. Since conversational po tayo, you can use don't, haven't, so have not, do not. So, yung verb plus the adverb of negation, yung not, pwede po yun. Pero, we have to be very careful with contractions kasi merong ibang contraction. Pag binabasa po natin, parang ibang word na po yung narinig natin. Especially those contractions that end in VE. For example, it could have been done, could have. Kahit could have siya or could have, parang yung papakinggan siya, parang could off na siya pakinggan. Could have. So, para siyang OF na siya instead of apostrophe VE. So, yung mga ganong contraction, wag na po natin i-contract. Would have, could have. Sabihin talaga natin. But the rest, you can use them or you can contract them. Walang problema. Next, active voice, present tense of verbs. Ang maganda po dito, active voice, easier sequence of sentence components. Ooh, let's simplify that. Pag active voice, mas madali pong intindihin ng estudyante. Hindi, puro na lang po siya, lahat ng sinasabi mo, makakomprehend nila, papasok na sa utak nila without having difficulty determining alin nga natin yung subject or pinag-uusapan ng sentence, alin nga yung predicate or anong ginawa ni subject. Kasi yung normal na po na sequence is ng subject component, si subject talaga na una, na word or first two words. Yung sunod yan, linking verb or action verb. Tapos the rest part na po ng predicate. So, inunahan lang ng verb. So, at tapos kung yung predicate na yon apart sa verb, meron siyang direct object or parang, for example, Florence climbs what? The tree. Yun yung direct object. So, alam na agad ng mga bata. Wala nang pasikot-sikot. Okay? Direct to the point. And then, pag active voice din and using present tense, we're actually letting our audience feel that we're in the moment. Alam natin na presently nangyayari. Pero there are also instances na di po talaga natin ma-avoid na kahit may sense of immediacy for present tense of verbs, na kailangan po talaga natin gumamit ng past tense of the verb. Pero syempre, gawin natin siya parang we limit it to 1 or 2 instances. Kung pwede nga, wala talaga sa buong script. And kahit gusto po natin yung mga ing po na yan, yung progressive tenses of the verb, let's also do away with them. Kasi iba po talaga yung effect pag present tense of the verb. Talagang nangyayari at present. Hindi pag ginagawa at present. So here's an example. Language muna po tayo. Ha? There were 40 people taken to the hospital following a train derailment that occurred early this morning. If you see this in a novel or any print media feature, nice. Sounds good. If you're a person who's really into reading, that type of learner will appreciate this sentence kasi kaya niyang intindihin. But when we're on screen, even if kayang intindihin na ibang students, huwag nating i-generalize. I-assume natin na lahat sila hindi pa talaga alam kung ano yung train derailment, or better yet, let have this mindset na the simpler things are said, the better. Always. So let's have a similar sentence that is used on TV. Same thought, same idea, iba lang yung pagka-phrase. Tingnan natin. Here's an example. 40 people are in the hospital as a result of an early morning train accident. Or 40 people are in the hospital because of a train accident or early morning train accident. Kung very important yung time, sige, you can mention it. So it's very simple. Alam mo na yung 40 people yung subject, yung verb mo yung are in the hospital as a result, hanggang accident, predicate mo yan. Alam na ng mga estudyante yung sequence. Automatic na po. Auto recognition, kumbaga. Next, befriend action verbs kasi they bring life, verb, or vitality to your spills. Mas maganda po yun pakinggan. And minimize the use of linking verbs. Kung pwede yung mga is, am, were, was, were, has, have, mga ganun. Iwasan po natin yun. Mas maganda yung action words, kumbaga. Next, since nag-structure na tayo techniques, dami, no? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, dal-dal ko eh. For techniques, use a conversational writing style. Write like you speak or talk, but only better. Kasi kahit informal siya in the sense, remember, we're still professionals. We're teachers. Kahit gustong-gusto natin mag-include ng gay lingo, which is kind of fun for normal conversation, always retain that professionalism in you na hindi ka naman katawa-tawa on TV. Dapat relatable ka, yes. You may sound as a friend, as a mentor, a teacher, but always remember, yung para bang walang distaste na mangyari or slang masyadong naririnig. Yung hindi din ma-insulto yung audience, hindi magiging cheap yung episode nyo. So, yun. So, here's what you can do when you go through script writing. So, para conversational pakinggan, ito yung always na ginagawa ko po, personally. I write my scripts. Ang ginagawa ko po, per sequence. Tapos after ng sequence, in-imagine ko na sa right side anong mag-appear sa video. Ganun po yung ginagawa ko. So, take turns before ako mag-move sa next sequence. Kaso, minsan kasi, aminin man natin, or hindi, there are times na we are so engrossed or focused in finishing all our spills. Yung parang, you're in the moment, hype na hype kang gumawa ng spills at script mo. Yung parang, ay, later na lang si video. Mamaya, maalam ko naman kung anong gagawin. We can say that. So, kung diretso ka lahat ng sequence, di mo nilagyan sa video, pag natapos ka na, or parang, ay, tapos na ako, parang hingal ako, pause mo na ako. You can actually go back to the first one that you've written. Try to read it out loud. Are those lines actually conversational pakinggan or hindi? Imagine nyo kayong part ng audience, pero kung hindi kayo, parang ihirap i-discern kung talaga pang conversational at that moment, you can actually record your voice. Tapos i-playback mo na lang. Ay, parang yung pagkasabi ko yung line number na yan, parang ang sagwa, para lang akong nagsasabi ng info. Hindi naman talaga engaging pakinggan, hindi compelling, walang ka-amor-amor. Oh, so yun. So, if that's the case, you can always edit those out. Edit the lines, amend the lines. Pwedeng-pwede po yun. So long as hindi pa nakapass kay QA. Okay? Next, practice speech out loud. Sentence fragments are actually okay, lalo na if you're trying to emphasize certain words, yung mahabang phrases, hindi talaga sentence, pwede po yun. Basta you write for the ear para may timing, may transition, merong info flow, speaking rate, emphasis, kayang-kaya mong laruin, may inflection na mangyayari. Eto, never, in using a conversational style, never insult the intelligence of your audience. Nako, mga bata, alam nyo ba to? Sigurado ako hindi nyo pa alam yung bahaging ito. So, assuming that they don't know, even if that's actually how we should train ourselves, sinasabi natin na they don't know yet, if we're actually saying it out loud, sinasabi natin na parang baka di nyo alam yun na. So, when you say that, ang mangyayari, you'll have some difficulty. Parang kung ako yung bata, nakaka-discourage pakinggan. Hinasum niya, hindi ko alam. Lalo na may mga batang medyo maigo. Yung parang, alam ko yun ah. Sabi ng teacher na hindi ko alam. So, you're insulting them. Pwede iwasan natin yung instances na ganun. Okay? Next, this is one of my favorites. It's not only applied in TV broadcasting and online tutorial, pati po pag movies or sa screenplay. Avoid on the nose, noise dialogue. On the noise. Okay? What are these? These are actually spells or lines that state the obvious, or lines that communicate exactly what the characters are feeling or are thinking with little to no subtlety at all. Yung sobrang obvious, sinasabi pa. Perfect example. Ito, hilig yan ng mga lines sa mga pabebe natin, ng mga anak-anakan po natin. Wala pa po akong anak, just wag po muna. I'm extremely angry with you. Do you really have to say it on screen? Hindi po. Makikita po yun sa facial expression nyo. Makikita po yan, let's say may feature kang guest sa episode mo na nagagalit siya, naka-knit na yung eyebrows nila without saying, hey, I notice that your eyebrows are knitting. Hindi mo kailangan sabihin yun. Tingnan mo lang sila, tapos yung camera, i-emphasize nila na yung mukha or ka-close up nila yung mukha ng tao at sabihin na parang, ay, galit na talaga yung isa. Yun yung feature ng character. Another, naiiyak ako! Hindi mo kailangan sabihin yon. Obvious naman na lumuluha ka na. Ang saya-saya ko! Nakasmile ka naman todo. I'm sad that my pet dog died. With respect to those na namatayan and all, of course, if we're sad, mamatay, so sad naman, obvious na. Okay? Next, always spell out symbols and dots. Alam na po natin to. Nasabi na po to ni Ses. 9A-M, 10-pesos, 90 cents. Yun. Next, avoid apostrophes. Nasabi na din po to. Kung mahilig tayo mag-introduce sa Tom Smith, Mayor of Smallville, said today. So, Smallville Mayor Tom Smith, nasabihin natin agad. Okay? Next, age reference. Instead of saying Rob Roy, a 21-year-old boy, or is a 21-year-old boy living in, that's not 21-year-old boy. Okay? Display good word choice. Ito po, very important po to. Instead of using, this lesson covers, pwede mo sabihin, this lesson includes. I will recapitulate. So I'm going to have a recap or recall, bearing with, instead of saying, hey, don't worry, hey, calm down, students. You'll just say, you'll be fine, guys. Pwede yun. Okay? So yung mga ing po, tanggalin po natin yan, present tense action verbs. Transition, yung sinabi ko, now that we're done with, let's proceed to, or let me show you a figure to illustrate what I mean. So, quotation naman po, avoid writing direct quotations if possible. Kung pwede, i-paraphrase po natin. We don't say the president said, and I quote, or pwedeng sabihin na, this is the quote, and quote, unquote, di na po. We can set it off with phrases like in the words of the president, as he put it. Ito for example, The president praised crew members for handling themselves, as he put it, with such class and dignity. So hindi po yung buong quotation or sinabi ng president ilalagay, part lang po yun. Next, remove unnecessary adjectives. The man sat on a blue chair and stroked his blonde hair. Kailangan po ba talaga blue? Kasi favorite color mo? Kailangan po ba talaga blonde yung hair? We can always simplify and remove those adjectives and replace them with the man sat on a chair and stroked his hair. Ganun lang po kasi. Proper punctuation. Pag magpo-pause po tayo sa script, lagyan po natin ng double dash marks. Hyphen, isa lang po yan. Parang dalawang hyphen nakakombine. Iwasan po natin yung semicolon. We can underline for emphasis or just go with kung dating unang panahon ellipsis. Here's another. When we specify songs that are playing, you don't say the title of the song. You just say that it's a happy song with a light melody playing in the background. When we had our shoot back then, ang ganda na ng shoot namin, kinanta ko pa yung isang kanta ng European boy band, only to find out sa sobrang okay ng sequence ng shinote. Sinabihan ako ng scriptwriter, ng QA, at the same time yung segment producer, may nakalimutan ka, what? You actually sang the lines and even mentioned the title. So, remember our compliance to intellectual property or rights ng label at ng artist. And eto, if it has bearing, when Sir Litos would say, that's awesome, right? Happily. It's an adverb. That's awesome, right? Smirking. If it's an adverb or an adjective, it's a big no-no pag nakalagay sa parentheticals. But if it's an action that you wanted really to emphasize, like nag-smirk yung tao while sinabi yung lines, we can actually add those. What else? When featuring interviews, maximum 10 minutes. When we go to post-prod, kasi malapit na po, gutom na po tayo, pakita ko lang to. Ito po yung ginawa ko. Tinrem ko po, ito yung masakit. Nag-post-prod na po kami. And then, ang nangyari, pinatanggal po, nag-strike through po kami ng madaming lines because we have to reduce the episode runtime. So, when I had to do that, tapos ang may raw video na kami ng lesson, ang problema is, meron pang nagbigay na in-interview namin, sakit, no? Na in-interview namin, ang nangyari, idadagdag pa namin sa episode yon. Pero umabot na yung episode namin ng 28 minutes. So what did we do? Apart from striking all those out, ito yung nilagay ko. Etong mga to, raw video, timestamp, runtime, maybe excluded, important note. Ito po, these are actually notes in your audio section or column that you can include once you submit your final script to the editors. Kasi tinutulungan nyo na sila na please start with there are, remove the off filler. Talaga nilalagyan po natin ng timestamp. In fact, para po talaga umabot tayo sa dinideclare na runtime or parang sa target natin, we actually made this one. Ito. Meron po talaga tayong Excel file nakalagay na etong interview na to sa video na to, ito lang yung dalawang gagamitin, ilang seconds, kinonvert into minutes, tinotal, approximate time, 7 minutes and 48. Kaya pong incorporate lahat. Yun. So, ganun po trabaho, pero at the same time, kaya naman po. Okay? Accuracy. Okay. Codes, di ko na to i-discuss kasi just focus on functionality, art card, text art. Bigyan ko na lang po kayo ng copies nito. Full screen checklist, zooming in, insert text, ito katabi niya. Image pop-up, nasa gilid na niya. Okay. Insert sequence diagram, kung graphic organizer na nagsasabi ng sequence. If i-bold print ko yung practical text, bold, italicized, text italics. So these are actually practical video codes that you can go through. Meron po akong hyperlink dyan once I send the PowerPoint. So you would be routed to the sites with samples po na talagang, ito yung nilagay ko sa script, ito po yung nakalagay or on cam. Ito yung mangyayari para mas ma-visualize niyo po. Preview of script excerpts. Ito na po yung last part. Pakita ko lang. Actually, pinakita ko na sa inyo. Before ako magbigay ng endnote, pakita ko lang to. Para lang po, you'll have an idea. And you could see na kung mahirapan kami mag-visualize sa codes and all, we can actually go for, we can actually help the, inon ko lang ulit. No? Ito, checklist. Ito yung maglalagay sa screen. Yan. Admission. Naglalagay ng, pwede tayo maglagay ng picture. At least may idea yung editor or sinong tutulong na graphic artist, illustrator, kung anong ilalagay sa PowerPoint po natin. And lahat. Ako ginawa ko to sa Canva. I really wanted to make sure na very hands-on kami sa mga ilalagay. Kaya naglalagay po talaga kami ng mga images or digital art. Pero hindi po yun requirement. We can stick with text for video. Gusto lang namin malagay. Okay? So, yun po yun. And finally po, this is just an end note. Please, please, please avoid reshooting on location due to inadequate planning. In order to avoid reshooting, never shoot a TV program without a plan, without the list of episodes via your episode guide, without your backbone or the structure of your script, without the sequence treatment, and of course, have a script. At least guided po tayo, di tayo mawawala. And finally, good script writing is never a luxury. It's actually our obligation. And if you don't feel that obligation yet, mafe-feel nyo na po yan sa mga time na mag-workshop po tayo. So, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you've learned a thing or two or even more from the discussion, and the floor is now open for questions for me and Ma'am Ces. Thank you so much for listening once again.
Wow, ang dami nun, Ma'am Floy.
Lagi, oh. Lagi na Bisaya na ako, no? Oo.
Actually, we would like to first apologize because we have overwent sa ating pong lunchtime. So after this, we could save the questions and then address them at some other time. We are allotting 45 minutes po para sa ating lunchtime. Probably around 1:30, ganyan, kaya mag-lunchtime po tayo. And later on po ay i-present na rin po natin ang mga certificate. I-ano ko lang ang ating team sa Sir Noel, i-present na natin ang certificate. Pwede tayong mag-lunch time. We just want to present this sa ating pong mga speakers. Actually, there are a lot of things that our speakers would like to share because ako po ay isang EB Communication grad and very important po talaga ang script, kaya pagpasensya nyo na po, there are really things that our speakers would like to share with regards to script writing. Nevertheless, we would like to apologize po sa overtime po natin. Yan. So, would like to present this certificate po, mabilisan. Certificate of Recognition is awarded to Ma'am Florence De Vera for being the resource speaker during the Division Webinar Workshop on Audio and Video-Based or Multimedia Learning Format Development of Online Tutorial Sessions held on April 26 to 30, 2021 at Division of Angeles City via StreamYard. Signed by Dr. Maria Irene P. Tamayo, PhD po, Sese. Yan. Tapos po yung kay Ma'am Ces. Kay Ma'am Ces po. Ma'am, thank you so much po. We share nyo po yung slides nyo, ma'am. Very informative po yung slides. Pakibigay po sa ating mga technical team. Then another po, we would like to award this certificate of recognition to Ma'am Princess T. Sangalang for being the resource speaker during the Division Webinar Workshop on Audio and Video-Based Multimedia Learning Format Development of Online Tutorial Learning Sessions. Held on April 26 to 30 at Division of Angeles City via StreamYard. Given on the 30th day of April 2021. Signed by Dr. Maria Irene P. Tamayo, OIC Schools Division Superintendent. Ang dalawa po nating magiting na guro sa Angeles City Science High School, Senior High. Thank you so much po, Ma'am Ces.
Thank you
Pakita
po.
Yun. Thank you so much po sa ating po mga audience. Pasensyahan nyo na po. Pasensyahan po. 45 minutes po and then mga 1:45 po ay mag-resume po tayo. Take your lunch po. Enjoy po. Thank you so much po.
Bye-bye. Thank you, girl. Thank you, Sir Adrian.
Opo.